Nerdrotic.com.
Thank you. Oh, you're beautiful. Thank you. You are beautiful. Welcome to the Nerdrotic Nooner. God, it's been a while, hasn't it? I'm going to try to, well, I know what you're going to say, so that's what she said beforehand, but I'm going to try to fit this in where I can. Yeah, everybody likes a nooner, right? It doesn't have to be at noon, and it's probably noon somewhere, right? So welcome, everyone. As people roll in, let's see who's here. Today, we're going to talk about things and stuff. We're going to talk about, there's an Atlantic article that came up that if you search it on Google, it says, did The Mandalorian save Star Wars? But if you click on the article and actually go in, the headline says, Disney mismanaged Star Wars. That's a big difference. So I don't know what was changed. And by the way, Disney mismanaged Star Wars on June 21st, 2021. In other news, President Lincoln has been shot. Oh, shit. And it's just, I think there's a lot of ways we can interpret it. Now, I scanned it. I usually like to read these things, cold, so I give you a genuine reaction to stuff. So we'll go over it. It's a lot of fluff, and I won't bury the lead. The name Gina Carano isn't mentioned once in it, which makes it very, very suspicious. I'll say that. I'll say that. But what's up, everybody? Let's see who's here. Max Relax, Padme Amidala. Padme's here. You came back to life. I thought you died of a broken heart. Or a broken fart. I'm not really sure. Hi, Eric K. and Lady Greymaster and your wrenches. Welcome, and thank you to the Modrotics, who kind of just follow me around and wait for me to live stream. No, they don't. They don't. I'm a big headache on them. And there's the Canadian Rents, Chris Persia. M Service, Joseph Font, Scott S. X-Ray Girl's here, too, the producer. Yeah, I finally got your name in the intro. I got Perry working on that. Brightest Day, Phoenix Tangent. Takaman. Oh, it just went by. The R, that one's easier to read. J.D. Cox. Now I got to slow it down, and you're going to see that because I only have one chat up. Oh, no, I can use the other one. Never mind. I can use the other one. Let's do that one. There we go. Arwin, Avalon, Nitrium. Problem Being is here with his wrench. Xanathopus, is that how you say it? Probably not. Canadian JD Bacon, Charlie Higgins, Neon Wolf, Scott White, Moons of Madness, Snortopupus Q Burr, and Jennifer Cisco is here. SM, Gina C. I'm sure that's not Gina Carano. Fat Elvis. Elvis was just big boned. All right. And Red Baron Snoopy. Welcome to the show, everyone. And sorry, I didn't. Hello, Mary, and all the other people I didn't name off in there. What else are we going to talk about? That Supergirl costume with the, as Problem Being put it, with the chicken wings in there. And we're also going to discuss Eric Larson's tweet a little more from last week because I thought it was pretty interesting. Something we can go over. A little brief history on why the American comic book is dying, and it looks like it's really going to I mean, it'll never be dead, right? There'll always be people making it, but we're talking about Marvel and DC producing new superhero comics that could actually be in jeopardy. Like when Eric Larson comes out and says something, it's not just me coming out and saying something, right? The guy used to be, I think was the editor-in-chief at Image. I don't know if he still is or not. Quite frankly, I don't pay that much attention to Image these days. And yes, the Hollywood hypocrisy, the hyper-hypocrisy about hypersexualization, which, again, not to bury the lead, that's why Hollywood makes money. And if they want to continue to make money, they're going to have to continue to do that. I don't have a problem with it. Most people don't. So the continuance of all of our major industries to cater to a bunch of people who don't like the stuff they produce and don't have the money to pay for it. Oh, also in other news, California's safe today, folks. California's safe today. And Gavin Newsom saved his ass on the recall because of the thing known as the low information voter. And we'll go over that a little bit later. I don't like Gavin Newsom. I never will like Gavin Newsom until he leaves office, and then he can go be a privileged a-hole somewhere else. And I have, you know what? If people are privileged, that's part of life. It's not something I have a resentment towards. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, Gavin Newsom offered to pay all the late rent, all outstanding rent for everyone in California. No, he didn't offer to pay for it. California is going to pay for it, meaning all the people who had to pay taxes still, even when they couldn't pay their rent, and they're going to get their money back to pay the rent. And that's going to sound like free money to people. And it's not, but we'll get into it. Yes, they need to do something. And again, we'll get into it. Wow, the Grizzly for $100 right at the bat. Holy crap. What the hell? Hey, Gary, last week was my birthday. Wanted to give you a big donation for your birthday because you become a big part of my entertainment. How worried are you about the new Dune movie being woke? Couldn't help but notice that Paul was shrunk on the poster. Dune is my Lord of the Rings. Well, I am not uber familiar with Dune outside of Dune is doomed probably, but maybe not. I don't know. I watched the Lynch movie, and I watched the TV series from the early 2000s, and I like that. How worried am I? I would just go on the assumption it's going to be highly woke. And what we mean by woke is woke doesn't mean the actual definition of woke. It's got a greater meaning here on the internet. So we don't have to say CRT, identity politics, intersectional feminism. I think intersectional feminism will play a much bigger role, or the third wave feminism, rather than woke, knowing what I know of the storyline, right? There's a lot of source material. They don't need to expand on themes that are already there, but they try to do it because every filmmaker, every writer wants to insert his or her stuff into stories. Most talented ones don't, but there's a lot of untalented writers out there. The representation we need in Hollywood is POT, people of talent, right? So I suspect it'll be there. I cannot pronounce the director's name. We'll just say that. He's a cinematically a great director as far as setting up a scene and staying on it for a really long time, setting up beautiful scenes. I think he's a good director. I don't like all of his stuff. It's not for me. I really didn't like Blade Runner 2049. And I love Blade Runner. So, from what I hear from the Dune fans is that they're looking forward to it, but they're cautiously optimistic. I'm not too sure. I hope it's the next Lord of the Rings. We need something good that we can all enjoy together. and come together and enjoy a little escapism and discuss the actual movie, of what we liked about, things about the plot, characters, actors, portrayals, normal shit. I don't know. I suspect it's going to perform like Blade Runner 2049. I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. But it's a tough sell to normies. And what they have to do is somehow he has to make Dune fun. Now, it doesn't have to be, people confuse the word fun with something silly. No, it just needs to still be a fun movie to watch. They're covering, I guess, the first half of the first book, The Grizzly. And for your sake, since it's your Lord of the Rings, I hope it's great. I hope it's great. Hollywood has not earned the benefit of the doubt. They lost that a long time ago. Happy birthday, The Grizzly. Thank you for the $100 super chat. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you for being here. And I hope your movie turns out well. But worst comes to worst, you still got your book. You still got the source material. They're not going yet in and rewriting that. Not that they need to. I don't know if there is a Dune Society. I imagine there is a Frank Herbert Dune Society, and I don't know if they're, by the way, a lot of that stuff is in the book, right? It's in the story. A lot of the stuff that the Tolkien Society wants to put into Tolkien's works that wasn't there. It's a giant rationalization seminar. And now we have the Society of Tolkien going against them. And it reminds me of the Judean People's Front versus the People's Front of Judea in Life of Brian a little bit. But yeah, I think it's great. I think we need to have somebody out there gatekeeping the hell out of our works, especially when they don't need to be messed with, right? But they're all going to be messed with. I mean, comic books have gone off the rails. Comic book movies have gone off the rails. And, with that new Supergirl stuff, we saw the pictures of Michael Keaton too, and we'll get to that. I want to start with the Atlantic article and get that over with, because my God, I was going back on and forth on whether I was even going to talk about this, because I don't have any feelings when it comes to Star Wars anymore. If somebody came in and said Brie Larson is going to play Luke Skywalker in an original series remake, I'd probably just roll my eyes and just, yep, yes, they are. And, review the movie, and it'll be terrible, and I'll do okay on the review, probably get a couple of clicks, and then it'll be forgotten. But yeah, that's Disney Star Wars is nothing to me. Now we're just, it's crows feasting on the corpse of Disney. Feasting on the corpse of Star Wars. That's what Disney is. So let's take a look at that article. There we go. My button wasn't working there for a minute there. All right. This is from The Atlantic. And as I put on Twitter today, this is basically what I scanned of it is an article for 75-year-olds who live in Palm Springs who were really curious as to what their kids and their grandkids were watching on YouTube in Christmas of 2019. There is no mention of Gina Carano. Remember that. So, how Disney mismanaged the Star Wars universe. Well, I'm glad that The Atlantic, which is still in print, I guess. Print is dead, and this is why. I don't know why they're writing an article based on territory that has been gone over quite a bit here on YouTube years ago. So let's see what they have to say. And how the Mandalorian can restore true power, the true power of George Lucas's galaxy, by Spencer Kornhaber. Well, first off, it's not George Lucas's galaxy anymore. It's Bob Iger's, Bob Chapek's, and Kathleen Kennedy's galaxy to play with. Oh, And we're also going to go over another article that I didn't mention. Former Harvey Weinstein assistant Leslie Headland gave an interview recently. And she still likes all the Star Wars, by the way, all the Star Wars. And her show is going to be in production, her female-centric Star Wars show. So when I look out my window a few floors up from New York City, I see Star Wars, rooftop bouquets of dirty satellite dishes, jumbled architectural styles, united by peeling paint, variously shaped and largely face-masked life forms jostling in the sidewalk, each sign of a shabby modernity, I can talk and read, feels like something I glimpsed in childhood while hypnotized by George Lucas. In the director's 1977 space fantasy, wizards lived in what appeared to be a crumbling stucco huts and moon-sized superweapons had onboard trash compactors. As a kid, I believed that Earth was just another planet in Lucas's universe. Today, I'm still susceptible to that lovely illusion. Well, that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. So he was saying Star Wars looked lived in, which is true and what really set it apart. The Star Wars franchise offers action and escapism, but re-enchanting our own world was always its greatest trick. As Luke Skywalker rises from backwater farmhand to galactic savior over the course of the first three films, audiences gain a visceral sense of why the galaxy lives in his and is worth saving. Debris-strewn sets convey the exotic planets, have history and commerce. Silly-looking critters and robots carry themselves with dignity and purpose. A supernatural force hums throughout the interstellar menagerie. Viewers come to feel a humanistic or even animistic connection. Star Wars immerses you in the awesome knowledge of peripheral things, the neighbors you don't understand, the buildings you don't notice have their own sagas. Right now, Star Wars is at a turning point. Lucas's original original vision famously inspired an era of big budget blockbuster movies whose creators just as famously eventually ran out of new ideas and came to rely on sequels and spin-offs. Inevitably, Star Wars itself succumbed to that fate. After releasing a divisive trio of prequels around the turn of the millennia, in 2012, Lucas sold his franchise to Disney, Hollywood chief recycler of old stories. Oh, Hollywood's chief recycler of old stories. Yes, thank you. Thank you. I like that one. Fresh Star Wars films began to roll out in 2015. That I don't like. That's pretty arguable. I would say they were about as fresh as my trash can is right now in 100-degree heat. Through early acclaim and profits were impressive, they were, creative troubles began to hurt the bottom line. In 2019, dismayed reviews and relatively soft ticket sales greeted the rise of Skywalker, the fall of Skywalker. The finale of the trilogy set 30 years after the action of the first film. Around that time, Disney CEO Bob Iger announced he'd be leaving and he announced a movie-making hiatus for Star Wars. That was after Solo lost money. # Solo lost money. So we know all this. Okay, now we're now in our what? Fourth paragraph. Okay. Had Lucas's galaxy lost its power, or had its new stewards simply mismanaged it? Well, I think at this point, asking that question makes you very, very far behind. They not only mismanaged it, they obliterated it. It is dust in the wind. It's a fart in the wind at this point. And the only thing that holds it together is the biggest, most passionate fan base in the history of fan bases. I'm thinking about made a statement that I don't think I could back up. I would say Star Wars fandom is as strong and big as Beatles fandom was. Now, it's hard to gauge it, but they're close. But as far as movies go, as far as franchises go, number one by far will never be equaled. The recent success of a remarkable Star Wars television series suggests the latter. When the streaming TV service Disney Plus launched in late 2019, it featured The Mandalorian, which picks up 5 years after the events of the original trilogy and follows the adventures of a mysterious mercenary who has sworn never to take off his helmet. By the end of season 2, a critical consensus had emerged. It was the best live-action Star Wars product to arrive since the early 80s. I'd say so. There's a but in there, though, for later. Millions of viewers cooed over the short-statured enigma known to fans as Baby Yoda, who has a price on his adorable head for unknown reasons. As the Mandalorian's iconic and lethal hero travels from one planet to the next, the sublime feeling of immersion and laced Lucas's early movies reemerges. To watch the show and then look back at the sweep of Star Wars history is to understand where that feeling comes from and why most of Hollywood's hero-driven special effects-laden fantasies never attain it. The plot to The Mandalorian unspools like a thin, near-invisible thread. Well, I think he meant to say that as something artistic and complimentary, but no, the plot is thin. It's very thin. Our list of allies grows thin. Each week, the protagonist completes a discrete quest that unobtrusively, I can't fucking say that word, points the way toward the next quest. The pleasure of watching lies very much in the journey and not the destination. The episodic, open-ended style of entertainment is a hallmark of dramatic TV, but it's also very Star Wars. Soon after its initial success, the first movie was retitled Episode 4, A New Hope, because Lucas wanted viewers to feel as though the film were one chapter in an ongoing Saturday morning serial. In the new book, Secrets of the Force, the complete, uncensored, unauthorized oral history of Star Wars. Wow, that is a mouthful. That is the title. Secrets of the Force, the complete, uncensored, unauthorized oral history of Star Wars by Edward Gross and Mark A. Altman. Lucas says this of his work on the first film: it's always been what you might call a good man in search of a story. What Lucas means is that when he conceived Star Wars, he dreamed first of visuals, concepts, and feelings, not of plot. He felt drawn to make a movie in outer space like Flash Gordon used to be. Ray guns and, God, we know all this. We know all this. They bring up 2001: A Space Odyssey. Without a narrative he was burning to tell, Lucas had trouble turning such notions into a workable screenplay. He wrote multiple overlong drafts that each radically reconfigured its characters' arcs, themes. Eventually, he arrived at a relatively straightforward tale modeled on ancient legends. Lucas had been reading the works of Joseph Campbell, a literary scholar who identified a monomyth, which is predictable structure occurring across cultures through the centuries. Star Wars would be a chosen one story. Luke Skywalker was like King Arthur, and this blueprint, with its prescribed wise mentor figures, talismanic weapons, and trusty sidekicks, help make the mess of a script gel. He had a lot of help, too. He did. We're going to skip a couple paragraphs because I don't want to go over George Lucas's life. I read Bantha Tracks when I was in the fan club. I'm just still waiting to hear, is this a very long-winded way of saying the Mandalorian's aesthetic is possibly bringing Star Wars fans back by reminding them of better days? We'll see. Putting a competent plot in a story, and then Disney expecting to be congratulated for this. I gave this analogy a couple of live streams ago. You know, when I had little baby Logan and I'd give him his bottle, I feed him it because we did shifts. So mom would sleep during the day because, I had the comic book shop and I went at 12. So I would stay up at night and feed him. That would be, me expecting an award every time I gave my baby a bottle. Your job is to make good entertainment. You've had Star Wars for 10 years, and now, this is the power of fandom and the power of hypnosis, and that's a Doomcock term, that these people, all of us, we just want good stuff, and we're willing to forgive and forgive and forgive, some of us for 10 years. But as I said when The Mandalorian was out, and when I watched The Mandalorian, I thought it was all right. I gave most episodes were 7 out of 10. Some were 4 out of 10, but it felt like a live action cartoon. That's all. I like some of the characters. I like Grief Karga and Cara Dune. And The Mandalorian is not Din Djarin. That's his name, right? I've watched it a bunch. I can barely remember his name. He's not a character. So we're reliant on the guest stars, and it feels like a cartoon. It's not great, but I think it's the best Disney Star Wars fans are ever going to get. And it's not anything I'm interested in anymore without Gina Carano and considering what they did to her, which doesn't get brought up here. So he goes over and talks about, look at this. Hey, they talk about Darth Vader is Luke's father. So, yeah, we know Star Wars is good. And we're talking a lot about Lucas here. Lucas as a filmmaker. Lucas was a great filmmaker. Was he the best director? I think he was when he was interested, but he didn't like directing that much, or he would have done it more. And the minute he didn't have to do it, he didn't do it. Didn't want to direct Empire, and I think that was a wise decision. I think Irving Kershner did a great job. I think Richard Marquand did not do a very good job with Return of the Jedi. I think he made half a absolute genius movie and half of it was not, we'll just say. But we know about the World War II dogfights. We know what it's based on, the Saturday morning serials. We know that the prequels to a lot of folks weren't very good, and to the younger folks, they were great, and that is cool. I'm okay with that because they're all George Lucas, and they're all directed by George, and I don't think George should have directed those either. I just always think about that one picture of him sitting in a folding chair while everybody's standing up around him with a Pepsi can. And I'm like, yep, that's George, The world of The Mandalorian, thankfully, is sturdy, like a well-worn concrete. The hero flies a rickety spaceship. Not anymore. It's been blown up. Baby Yoda's twitching puppet ears convey the expressive range of actual toddlers. Most important, the showrunners, Jon Favreau, has absorbed the take-your-time exploratory ethos of Lucas's first trilogy. Yes, in 27-minute episodes. One early episode spends 10 dialogue-free minutes following the Mandalorian as he tries to survive on an arid planet, which I don't necessarily have a problem with if that's engaging. 2 episodes later, the Mandalorian arrives in a forest village where locals harvest bioluminescent krill from ponds. He doesn't just save the village from hostile tribe attacks, so does Cara Dune. He moves to live with the Star Wars simple life for a few weeks. Now, what Jon Favreau's doing here, I don't have a problem with. I don't have a problem with the time period or anything, but here's the fundamental flaw of The Mandalorian. We know the ending. We know where it goes. We don't know the ending of these particular characters, but unless you change something, we know where the overall story ends when it comes to the Empire versus the Republic, and then we know there's a First Order, and oh, God. Now, there's headcanon, and you can do whatever you like with that, but we know where it goes, so it kind of tempers the possibility of an epic ending It might be epic to Star Wars fans, but to overall fans, I don't know. And there's another major problem that we'll get to in just a moment. And it's a big problem. It's one they don't bring up. There is also a running plot involving, look at this word salad. There is a plot with a story and a character. What the fuck? This is the Atlantic. This is what people consider highbrow? To cheer for a Hollywood product that emphasizes look and feel rather than story and character may sound superficial, but in life, aesthetics are not incidental. Really? Wow, the dents on a vehicle tell a story. Yeah, usually not a good one. Some asshole opened up his fucking door on your car and then, walked away. So does that glint in a stranger's eye? So does that glint in a stranger's eyes. It could mean that, or he wants to take your kids. I don't know. I'm not going to read too much into a glint into a stranger's eyes. Tidy plots are scarce. Yes, they are. I absolutely agree. And populations do not readily divide into chosen ones and unchosen ones. No, but that's why we like to see the story of the chosen one, because there isn't really a chosen one. So we'd like to see the ideal of that, right? We would like to see something we wouldn't normally see in normal life, like a guy who can, fly around, or a guy who can, summon his laser sword to fight the Dark Lord. That's the kind of shit we go to see. We don't go to see, supervillains sitting around talking at tables. That's just me. Star Wars has proved that mass entertainment can wake up to such realities. Has it now? It did in 1977, in 1981, and 1983. My favorite of many of the arcs in The Mandalorian involves a frog-like creature carrying her unattached eggs to another planet. Because the alien doesn't speak his language, the Mandalorian treats her cordially until she commandeers a droid's translation system and delivers a desperate plea for help. Yes, that all took over the place of a half an hour. And yes, they're telling simpler stories, like little side stories, which, again, there's nothing wrong with. But I think you can do that and still have substance. But asking Disney to have that is impossible. I have no doubt Jon Favreau is doing the best with what he is given. I don't personally have a problem with Jon Favreau, except for one thing, which we'll get to. Watching the scene jangled my empathy so much that I began to look even at subway rats with a sense of wonder. I do too in New York, because they're fucking huge. They are characters in this galaxy too. Yeah, and they might take over the town, and quite honestly, they might run it better. So that's the article. It's basically a rundown of how great of a filmmaker George Lucas is, right? Okay, or was. I don't know what, they didn't really go into why Disney Star Wars was mismanaged more. It went way more. That's why that's probably why they changed the headline. It's way more of a fluff piece for the Mandalorian. A fluff piece for the Mandalorian. And they went into some of the hero's journey stuff, and they threw maybe a little shade at Luke Skywalker, but not much. It's a giant fluff piece. Who cares? Not a mention of Kathleen Kennedy was mentioned once with a quote. Nothing, but nothing critical of Kathleen Kennedy. No, not a mention of Gina Carano. And you can't talk about the story of the Mandalorian in this world that we live in without talking about Gina Carano. It impacted the show. It derailed the show. The one thing that was working for Star Wars, clearly working, the best moment they had, a universal moment that everybody shared, they squandered within a month by having one of their executives shame one of the biggest Star Wars fans on this platform. They hired racists to work for them who still do. This is after all the shit that they've put on fans years and years before, and this is all from Kathleen Kennedy. It's all from Kathleen Kennedy. I don't know. Jon Favreau not saying anything in Gina Carano's defense, and just what I can judge from Gina Carano, I don't mean to judge, but from her character, from what I've seen, I am sure She probably doesn't want him to, doesn't want anybody to risk their jobs. And that's a nice and noble and honorable sentiment that comes from a true friend. But if Jon Favreau handpicked her, right, I would say Jon Favreau already had the power to call that move out and say, no, she's rehired. Maybe Jon Favreau doesn't think he has that kind of power, but I think he does. Because if Jon Favreau left, that would piss everybody off. That would piss everybody off. And personally, I don't care at this point. I don't give a shit. I'm not going to review The Mandalorian. I'm not going to watch it. I just don't care. There's so much other entertainment out there to cover. Thankfully, gratefully, I am not a Star Wars channel. And I will talk about Star Wars and I will talk about news when it comes out. Like if Kathleen Kennedy leaves someday, I will be happy. I will celebrate it. But she'll probably either retire with a giant golden parachute or she'll be promoted. And when it happens, it happens. When it happens, it happens. And we've been talking about it for years. And it's clear. It's clear to everybody, even to the subway rats in New York, that she has mismanaged Star Wars. She has driven it into the ground, and it's only the strength of the brand that has kept it alive this long, but that will only last so long. Give, a few more Leslie Headland series, and this will be a dead brand. Thankfully, you have Jon Favreau to counteract the Leslie Headland series, which is still coming out. It's in development. Now, we'll see. We'll see how many of those shows that Kathleen Kennedy announced at the investor meeting actually come out. For those of you who still care about Star Wars, I mean, enjoy it. Go ahead and enjoy it. I mean, that's fine. Watch it however you want. I'm not telling you what to do. I don't think I could change. A lot of us spoke up. A lot of us made videos. A lot of you were in chats. You were on Twitter. We said our piece, and it was a very large number, and Disney made a choice to ignore that when they fired Gina Carano, ultimately. There is a section of fandom we just don't need anymore or don't want. I think we can survive without. Because when they fired Gina Carano, and the way they did, like I said before, they shamed everybody who supported her. When they said her behavior was abhorrent, when they lied, when they pushed a false narrative, a giant billion-dollar corporation pushed a false narrative. Everybody knows, even her detractors know, that when she put up that, I think it was an Instagram post, and she just reposted it or shared it, what she meant. They know exactly what she meant. They don't care. There was a narrative to run with, and we cannot lose that opportunity. So that's why in this culture war game, and that's what it is. It's a fucking game until it's not. There's different sets of rules, and those of us with common sense have to behave a different way than they do. They're the ones without honor. They're the ones who knowingly push lies, and they're free to do that. And it's tough to fight that when normal people don't do that. They don't push false narratives. They don't stretch truths. And if you're doing that, I mean, that's SJW behavior. And Disney bent the knee to that, and they made it fucking clear that they don't want us around. It's done. So I'm like, fine. I was the only reason I was giving you a look was because of Gina Carano, and I saw, wow, okay, so they're letting Pablo say what he wants, and they're letting Gina say what she wants, and that's consistent. That's at least somewhat consistent, but we knew it couldn't last. So she's off to go do her film. I watched a drunk 3PO live stream with her, and they talked about the film she's going to make, and she seemed pretty fucking happy and free. And now she doesn't have to, she can go out and be her own thing, her own star. And this was going to be a better move for her anyway, I think. Better than being a guest, a guest star on a Mandalorian show. Now she's a star. So she's leveled up from this. So she took took a bad situation and flipped it around, took it as an opportunity. Obviously, she wasn't happy about it, but she didn't sit around and say, woe is me. She gave one interview and got to work. That was it. Incidentally, she talked about Disney wanting her to go through a 40-person Zoom room struggle session. Let's not forget that. But they respect women. They respect women. That's what they say. Yeah, I don't know if it was. I don't know. I can't say how people are going to interpret that. I would interpret this as just a remember what the Mandalorian is. Remember the Mandalorian. It's the best thing we have going for us that we completely derailed, and the show's not going to be out for 2 years now. So yeah, they had one good thing going and they fucked it up. Just like Disney Star Wars always does, and Kathleen Kennedy still has a job. At this point, what good would it do to fire her without firing a bunch of other people, completely cleaning house? And I still wouldn't care. And there is, I don't want to black pill on everything, but that was a bit much, right? That was a bit much. So it's like, I'll take my hope and I'll aim it somewhere else. Somewhere because Disney will still own it. And there will, a lot of the people who are still there are going to be there. But again, like what you like. If you guys want to go out and enjoy The Mandalorian after this, it's a short life. Go have some fun. If it's fun, that's great. I didn't get that much out of the show anyway. But I'm very interested to see how Disney goes under Bob Chapek. As Clownfish TV had reported so long ago, the way the guy that ran the parks, people hated him. He was cheap. And it's starting to kind of look like that's what Disney's doing. They've already done a lot of skullduggery with the parks. They're going to do some skullduggery with streaming services. I'm looking forward to the day these streaming services have to come to terms with we're going to need to run ads, which they should have just done from the first place, but they're going to need to run ads. There's 200 streaming services, separate streaming services, 200. But freaking, if Star Wars was to turn around, I just don't think there'll be tons of interest outside of the hardcores out there, which there's plenty of. There's plenty of to make a profit off of, but it's not going to have those billion-dollar films again. We'll see if, and even if all the movie theaters come back, I don't think so. You would have to go back to the well again. Disney's going to have to move forward with this brand someday. They're going to have to move forward in the future and create their own stuff. And instead of going 1,000 years in the past, they're going to have to move forward. And we've already seen their characters, and they're really bland, and it's all by committee. And this is why Disney is too big to succeed. They have to force everything in. They have to remake all their own shit. I can't wait to see the third remake of Lion King in 10 years. Maybe they'll actually do that one live action. They get real lions. That'd be more interesting. Let's see what you guys have to say. Let's go over here. By the way, thanks for all the freaking amazing positive feedback from last Friday's Friday Night Tights with Eric July. It is tracking to be one of our most watched episodes. So thank you. I appreciate that. People love Eric. We're going to have him back as much as possible. That was a message from my wife. So I would love to ask him on permanently, but he's doing his own thing, and I know how hard live stream scheduling can be. But we get him back once a month or something like that. I think that'd be good. Here we go. Thanks to this is on the donation side, $5 from Primark Vulcan for $5. Thanks to Torn Twitter Meltdown and yours and just some guys' response videos. This past week, I bought the Lord of the Rings trilogy, The Silmarillion, Children of Hurin, and The Fall of Gondolin. Beren and Luthien. Oh, that's Tolkien's favorite story. And Unfinished Tales. Thank you for standing up for the fans, Gary. You're welcome. I will. I'm standing up with the fans. I am just one of you, and I have this conduit for you guys to use whenever you can, and it's my pleasure. And I ran the comic book store. Not every comic shop owner was like this, but a lot of there was a new generation of comic shop owner in the early 2000s that I was kind of part of, where the younger guys were coming in and it wasn't all the Simpsons comic book guy. They even did a Simpsons episode. I think Jack Black played the new one, which I couldn't stand. But a lot of those guys, that's where the comic artist started becoming a rock star. It was because of Wizard, but in the early 2000s, you get a comic artist over for a signing, you get a pretty good crowd. A lot of people would show up, and you can't always say that with every writer or artist or creator. And it's weird because you're comic book famous. So you're famous within the comic book industry, and nobody else would know you on the street at all. Nobody would recognize a Mark Waid or a Mark Millar. And I never liked that. I never was about that. The one friend I met through the store was through our love of toys. So I met Derek because he liked hot toys, and I could get him hot toys, and then we became friends. He checked out my Spider-Man. I had a Spider-Man museum, but that was it. I didn't have a bunch of people over. I think in 10 years, I had 7 people come over. I was way more into the fan meetups. We used to go out to dinner. We used to do TV parties, the comedy thing. That was more of my thing. So yeah, I like hanging out with the fans more. Phoenix Tangent for $5.99. You wondered why, and by the way, sorry, congratulations on those purchases. You will love them all. Beren and Luthien. Beren and Luthien is I was watching on that Tolkien documentary. He said he had in the documentary they said that Tolkien had Luthien put on his wife's grave, which was cool. I thought it was cool. You wondered why the popularity of anime and manga died off in the early aughts. Yeah, I did. The genre was supported by the .com money and went into limbo when .com crashed in 2002. Anime fandom went underground for the next 10 to 12 years until it came back. Oh, Phoenix Tangent, that is an answer to my question, because anime and manga were extremely popular in the early 2000s, right when I purchased my shop, to where every comic shop owner was, I'll sell it. And I'm like, I don't know anything about it. I can't sell, it was like magic cards. I'm not going to sell magic cards. I don't know anything about them. So, and it died out quick, and I was wondering why. I never knew why. And now we have the answer. It was part of the .com crash. And thanks to that .com crash, by the way, I was able to buy a house in San Francisco. an auto parts guy was able to buy a house in San Francisco because of the .com crash. Now, hopefully I can sell it. I'll get stuck with the fucking thing. But, that's the way it goes. Nikki D for $5. Disney reported that 890,000 U.S. households watched in to watch the first episode of Loki, which is their highest viewership premiere of an MCU Disney Plus show. Doesn't that number seem a little low for a streaming platform with 70 million U.S. customers? Yes. Did they really report that number? Well, we can extrapolate quite a bit off that, can't we? And what I suspect is true. The analytics for Disney are probably the exact same as iPlayer over there with the BBC and Netflix and Amazon and right here on YouTube. And if you extrapolate analytics from your average video, it's like 15% of your subscribers watch it, 4%, and I'm not kidding, 4% get a notification, 4% get a notification. I'm going to repeat that again. 4% get a notification, sometimes 6%. But then it's everybody else who's watching, and those are the normies, the people who, there's a bunch of people out there who will search out me or someone else, and they won't subscribe. They'll just every day they'll just search out the videos, and that's fine. But with that's low. I would easily have thought it was at least 2 or 3 million. They said households, but is that based on just the Roku? I can't remember of Disney Plus being on part of Roku, or I can't remember which one it is, because it's impossible to count. Well, they have the actual numbers, so I don't know if there's a caveat to that or not. But that seems low to me. That seems very, very low. And as it goes with every show, I've been reviewing TV for 5 years on this channel. And the one thing I noticed, except with rare exceptions, even with a semi-hit show, is the ratings go down as the season goes on. And they'll pick up a little bit towards the end if it's an interesting show. If it's not, they won't. And they can drop anywhere from 20 to 50% on your average show. So that means Critical Drinker got more. I don't know if he did a video on Loki, but on your average Critical Drinker video was watched by more people than Loki. That should be concerning. That should be very concerning. But I'll have to see. Nikki D, I trust you, but I have to see if there's anything else added to that. Well, manga is killing American comics, and I'm not sorry. I'm not sympathetic. I don't feel bad at all. The shop owners, worth their salt, have already made changes and know what to do and know how to survive, and they are. A lot of them are, and I'm really freaking happy about that, including my LCS. My LCS down on Claremont Mesa Boulevard here in San Diego. Southern California Comics, owned by Jamie Newbold. If you ever come to San Diego, search that shop out. Go there. You will like it. Even if you don't buy anything, there is so much to look at in there. It's great. It's absolutely great. So go check it out. And plus, Jamie is a heart of gold. That guy has heart of gold. He was my Gandalf, my Yoda. We'll read a couple more, and then we're going to talk about Hollywood hypocrisy again and sex. All right. Let's go over here. That was the donation side, by the way. I need to refresh this. Oh, I don't need to do that now. There we go. Hail, Gary. I wish Disney could know I'm watching you instead of them. That is, whoa, $100. Holy crap. Thank you. Thank you. And that is from Steve2848. $100. I wish I don't know if they know. I don't know if they know. I don't. I know they pay attention to what's going on. They watch YouTube videos. That's no secret now. And they have been for a while. And they're smart to do that. They're very smart to do that because you find out what people actually are actually saying without a person in the room. So they'll give you especially reading a chat of a live stream. I do know that this was a couple years ago, and I've said it before here on many live streams, that the powers that be at Star Trek watch for sure. But they have bigger troubles now. They actually should be thankful that people hate watch their show or watch the show to roast it or watch the show to review it and maybe hold out a 0.00001% hope that it might be good. I can't honestly say I expect any Star Trek to be good. I think they might accidentally fall into incompetence and forgettable at one point, but right now it's just complete shit, utter shit. Quick aside, yes, halfway through the Picard review. It's going to be the biggest thing I've ever done. But yeah, I'm more people are watching YouTube. There's so much more competition. So Star Wars can't just go up and do the easy layups right now. And you know what? The Mandalorian was just a layup show. That's all it was. That's all you ever needed to do. Kathleen Kennedy, because of her incompetence, made it look complicated. But no, her excessive failure was because she wouldn't take what was right in front of her and do what Favreau did. Favreau got the easiest paycheck in the world. He's John fucking Favreau. He saw this giant mess of Star Wars and he's all, why don't I make it more like Star Wars? And not just copying it, just aesthetically. I think I'll remove the identity politics for the most part. And yeah, we'll have like 5 lines of dialogue per episode. Good? Are we good? Okay, awesome. We'll put a really cute baby Yoda in there as well because those kids love the baby Groot, which is all it ever was, and I said it at the time. And it worked. Freaking worked. Genius, Jon Favreau. No, he's probably snickering like how easy it was. And then they have this, admittedly, this badass studio. I gotta give them credit. I don't know if Disney developed it or not. I would imagine somebody else developed it and they bought it, but that studio that they use is impressive. That's some impressive shit. That's gonna change film. And that will bring down costs. You won't have to be mucking around in locations for the most part. It doesn't always look great. I mean, I don't think they used it for Loki, but that Gobi Desert scene looked terrible. That was embarrassingly bad. But no, Favreau, is looking like a genius for doing just the most simple thing. Let's remove all the bullshit and just try to make something that kind of looks like Star Wars, and we'll just go back and give you member berries. A character that is Boba Fett, basically. Another derivative character, we'll just make a baby out of him. Throw in an Ugnaught. I love the Ugnaughts. I couldn't wait to get my Ugnaught figure. A little ugly pig thing. Oh, man, the Empire toys from Kenner were the best. Best play sets. I fucking love the Empire toys. The Snowspeeder was so fucking cool. Tolkien, Farmer Giles of Ham is a hidden, hilarious gem. A shard of Cimmeril all of its own, says Aztec01 for $10. I'll have to, what? I don't know what that is. I'll have to check it out. Thank you, Aztec01. And thank you for the $10. And Steve2848, thank you for the $100. Once again, man. Damn, man. Thank you. Dalton Rambo for $5 says, Hollywood used to be an inspiration to me. Now all they want to do is pander for woke virtue signal points. Keep calling out their bullshit, Gary. I will. That's as has it in his Twitter bio. And I guess that's the best description for what we do is we call out bullshit. We read between the lines. We try to extrapolate and break the narrative, essentially. Sniff out the bullshit and break the narrative as much as we can. And part of that is, going through like ridiculously stupid articles and trying to find like what was the motivation for the Atlantic to put that out. It's not like Star Wars is super hot news right now. I mean, if that article could have been put out in March, in February, but why in June? Like out of nowhere when there's so much more to talk about. So, I mean, I saw some people on Twitter speculating that it might have come from Disney and been a way to shade Kathleen Kennedy. Well, that headline does for sure, but it shades Bob Chapek too, and all of Lucasfilm. So I don't know, because I'm certain that Pablo Hidalgo, considering how thin-skinned he is, saw that headline and probably wasn't happy about it. Is it a message from Bob Chapek? Then write a fucking internal memo to the people at Lucasfilm going, you have mismanaged this product for 10 fucking years. Fix it. Or no, wait. Here's the pink slip. I fixed it. Fire Hose Frameworks for $2. Kathleen Kennedy's master plan. John was always the actual target. Kathleen Kennedy slays evil Gina to be hailed SJW saver, given the blessing to behead the real devils, John and Dave. Kathleen Kennedy would bathe in the shining glow. John shutting up was his best move. I don't know about, for saying with Star Wars, yes, of course, he had to shut up to save his job. I'm saying, I don't think you're saying he had to shut up to save his job. That's an obvious yes. I'm saying I think he has the power to speak up and not get fired. And if he does, he's Jon Favreau. He just walked away from The Mandalorian. So they say Jon Favreau got fired tomorrow. He just had a successful TV show. Warner Brothers is going to offer him bank. Universal is going to offer him bank. He's going to get money. He'll be fine. If Kathleen Kennedy fired Jon Favreau, are you kidding me? So I think John could have said something, but he didn't. As far as Dave Filoni is concerned, I think that dude's a company man through and through. So I never expected nor thought he would say anything. But thank you. Yeah, listen. She's done everything her overlords have wanted her to do, including putting a dagger in between the shoulder blades of George Lucas. Bones 8 for $50. Hell yeah! Hail Nerdrotic. Thank you always for the awesome content. Nothing is going too drastically to change, even if Kathleen Kennedy leaves. Too many woke minions in place to continue, and we will still get the same woke bullshit. Yeah. As far as I know, which I just scuttlebutt and hearsay that I hear, and I'm not paying attention that much to Lucasfilm. I talk to friends once in a while. The perception I get is Kathleen Kennedy is the leader, the figurehead, and the leader will always reflect on an organization. But I think she's just a bit of a bumbling idiot that's been carried along by her betters. And now that she doesn't have a Spielberg around to protect her, she's been exposed. I think that's pretty fucking obvious over the last 10 years. Yeah, her name's been on a lot of shit, but this is the one thing she was solely in charge of, and she's fucked it up. And now we have people who were calling us all kinds of shit 5 years ago agreeing with us, like we knew they would be eventually, right? We knew they would get here. Like I said, the one advantage of being the heretic in the 21st century is, in most cases, you live long enough to be proven right. And you're not burned at the stake. That could change. That could definitely change. Oh, my God. Thank you, Bones 8. I appreciate it. I will continue doing this. And again, if Kathleen Kennedy's fired tomorrow, great. But I don't think she's going to get fired. I think she's going to get even if she got fired, they would never say it. I don't think she'll be fired via the media like Gina was. See no for 10 Canadian pesos. Hail, Nerdrotic. Just want to pass along a message to you and any Canadian YouTubers you may know. Our government in Canada is planning to censor and regulate the internet, including YouTube. Hashtag no to Bill C-10. I have to look into that bill, but that's what I've heard. I can't say I know it in detail. We do have some Canadian friends, including Bowles Trek. So at this point, we've got my producer, X-Ray Girl, Mark the Cyborg. At this point, you better get over here. Just drive south a little bit. Because at least in some things, we have term limits. Couldn't you have Trudeau? I don't know how your crazy system works up there in America's hat, but couldn't you be stuck with that guy forever? I hope not. I really do. Thank you, C no, and yes, definitely no to censorship, period. No to censorship, especially the censorship. Where does it stop? Once it starts being political ideals, it could be, you're defaming our sponsor, so we're gonna have to silence you because CBS is a sponsor. Kit Kat for £5. I'm really looking forward to Gina Carano's forthcoming film. I am too, to be made with Ben Shapiro, in which she will have a creative input. Yes, she's a producer, and she has a lot of creative input. What I could gather from her very adorable live stream she did with Drunk 3PO a couple of weeks ago. Shout out to Drunk 3PO. And she talked about having a convention. I think it's a great idea for down the road, possibly. I think she talked about, Jeremy working on that stuff. And if it happens, that would be probably pretty fucking cool. Or at least doing a premiere for the movie. I do know we're doing Vegas, August 11th through 15th. I have my location where I am staying. Mrs. Nerdrotic is right now, as we speak, working on locking down the location where we can do a meetup. Tentatively, I would like to do 2 meetup nights. We're going to see if that's possible at this location. If not, then we can do it on another. And the reason I say that is in New York, we ended up doing, I think, 3 meetups, but they were really impromptu. They were like, hey, pay attention to Twitter. We're going to be there in 30 minutes. We're going to try to give you a little more notice than that this time. Confirmed going is, I do believe Drunk 3PO is going to be there. I mean, barring something happening in their world where they can't go. But, and Jeremy and Ryan, Comics Division, I think is going to be there. And others. And Friday Night Tights will be broadcast from Vegas. We will not be missing the show. But everything in between that, yeah, it's going to be a little crazy. My schedule is crazy right now. We're getting in the crunch time. I've been in San Diego for 10 months now. 10 months. So we're getting ready to start packing stuff up, and we got to sell a house, buy a house. It's going to be nuts, but it's fun. It's not that bad. Will you be my internet dad? Hashtag poll says Zion did 9/11. Ralph Mack for $2 Australian. Will I be your internet dad? I sure. Why not? My kids are getting old. And as far as the Zion did 9/11, I don't think so. I don't think so. I am a believer in I can't say believe. I love a good conspiracy theory. I do. I love the UFOs and the conspiracy theories. I love all that stuff, but there's some I just don't buy. And there's some that you just cannot talk about here, nor will I, because I just don't buy. But thank you for the $2 Australian. Protege Music for $5. When are you going to get a Mario Kart and confuse the horn button with the gas button? Rippa needs an easy win. Hey! Oh, you mean this button right here? That's the same color as the applause button, but now I can't change it and fix it because that would disappoint you guys. We'll see on the Mario Kart stuff. Let's see if I can. I am horrible at video games, and I need to fulfill the Witcher thing first. So, but we'll see. What do you think about the Steven Crowder debates? Ethan Klein tomorrow. What helped you get sober? I am military and I'm fighting my demons. Mad Cat 15 for $5. Wow. Okay. The debate between Steven Crowder and Ethan Klein. I honestly, I saw the trailer, so I saw that Ethan brought in a ringer, and I know that Ethan Klein is really thin skinned, but I've never watched one of his videos. I've never watched one of his videos. When he was big on YouTube, I was only watching political stuff. And I was watching a lot of Compound Media when he was getting big, and even like I'm talking like a few years ago. But I heard of the guy, but that was it. I never watched. So I've seen a few of his podcasts. I've seen his act. I know what he did for content creators as far as fair use, and I appreciate that. But I don't know much about the dude. But I don't think he could take Crowder in a debate on any day about anything. I think if Crowder took a subject and was wrong about it, he'd still beat him in a debate. As far as I know, I am going to watch in the morning though. We got to support Quarter Black Garrett, and I am a member of Monk Club, but I watch that stuff, and it'll be entertaining. I think that Quartering did a video on it today, and I watched that. Now I agree with his assessment that internet debates are entertaining, but they don't solve a whole lot. But that's not what they're meant to do. They're actually meant to be entertaining. I think that's probably why they're doing it. But it looks like Ethan Klein brought in a ringer. We'll see if Steven survives. I think he will. M Tax Shark for sorry, the second part of your question. As far as what helped me get sober, realizing I had a problem. And then once I realized I had a problem, realizing that only I could do something about it. There's no quick fix. There's no pill. It's going to take an incredible amount of work, going to meetings. I had to go through, I've been to multiple rehabs, been in and out of jails and prisons. And what finally, there's a saying in the program where we were sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I had lost everything. So I'm like, well, I could do this. I mean, I've already lost everything. But the drugs just weren't working. Life wasn't working for me. It was miserable. And I just decided to, I don't know, I had to be dragged into every rehab. I never walked into a rehab on my own. I had to be dragged in there by a cop, a PO, a friend, interventions, all that stuff. I would never walk in on my own. And the rehabs rarely work, but they plant the seed, right? And that's what they're for. They're for planting the seed. You can't go to a 30-day rehab and the chances of staying sober after that are astronomically low. If you are serious about getting sober, especially if you're in the military, I don't know what veteran benefits you have. Use them all and go into a live-in behavioral modification rehab. They're hardcore, and that was the closest thing that almost worked for me. It didn't quite work. I stayed in one for 6 months. You get to live your life and stuff, but you're just it's hardcore. It's very hardcore. I went to the Crash Golden Hill House in San Diego. But what works for me now is going to meetings, talking to my sponsor, doing the steps. And it's not just lip service. You actually have to do that stuff. And doing the steps, I redo the steps once a year. But that first time around is fucking tough. And then you have to do some very hard work. And I'm not trying to scare you away, but like once you've done that, life gets infinitely better and you start seeing results pretty quick if you stick with it. I don't want to lie to people saying it's easy though, because it's not, or more people would do it. But definitely I would say go to a meeting. That would be the first. There's always meetings around everywhere. Say you're a newcomer, put your hand up, and you'll have 10 people willing to help you right there and then. They'll ask you out for coffee, and you'll be on your way. So it's good about recovery. AA hasn't been infiltrated or infected with. There's no politics in there. There's no racial shit, none of that shit. It's just people helping people. We do separate male and female because, and then there's the alphabet meetings too, but most of the time it's just all of us together helping each other. And the one thing that we always have is forgiveness. No matter what you did, whatever your problems are, they're left at the door. You mean to tell me that you live in Cali and didn't have a mammary gland? Yes, Man of War 665, a mammary gland. Man of War 665, the neighbor of the beast. Thank you for the 665. I appreciate it. More nonsense words for you to read. Oh my God, tocopherol, hydro. Oh my God, hydroxy petite. Luke, these are the words I used to have to type. And that was my prison job. Is I typed up medical and drug orders for the prison hospital. Polyquatramine, hashtag shampooing ingredients. Oh, yeah, that doesn't sound safe. Don't eat that. And then we have Pup Shepherd for $5 says, you have the best intro. Why, thank you. Well, that's thanks to Perry Chan. I've got the best staff. I got X-Ray Girl and Perry Chan. She stole that from you. You said that first. Not applicable for $2. I don't know who's she. But I'll say yes, they did. Not applicable. Could you say Sphinx in a shore leave voice? Emperor J Bama fan for $2. Sphinx in a shore leave voice. What the hell is a Sphinx? I don't know. Hey, fella. Judicon, thank you for the $3. All right. Let's go to some more hypocrisy here. Oh, I knew John was going to write an article on this. I saw the Variety article. And I went over it. The Boys showrunner Eric Kripke is back at it again, and season 3 is going to explore what it means to be American, but that's not what he meant. He's talking about like the white supremacy zeitgeist or some shit. And yeah, Boys season 3. Look, The Boys already deconstructs the superhero. It already deconstructs that ideal, but it did it in a black comedy way. It was just funny as hell. I like the comic book, but the show got cringe at the end. It got cringe. We'll also talk about Supergirl real quick, but let's go to, I know this is an older article, but I think this speaks to much more. Buttons are sticking there. I wonder if this thing's breaking. My Stream Deck. Maybe I should get another one. Scarlett Johansson criticizes Black Widow's hypersexualization in Iron Man 2. Now, I could have sworn I heard this before. Maybe I heard it from somebody else. I felt like a recycled story. But now Scarlett Johansson she's a good actress. She's a good pretender. So I'm not going to say she's just eye candy, all right? But we'll see how her roles are going when she hits that big 40. Because with all the lip service from Hollywood, I doubt much of that is going to change. I like ScarJo. I imagine she said this just to stay in the club. Stay as part of the club that you and I will never be in, nor do I want to be. And quite frankly, I liked her Black Widow in Iron Man 2. I think her Black Widow was one of the best things of Iron Man 2. And the Black Widow is a femme fatale. She's supposed to be sexy. The reason the Black Widow was even in the MCU is it fit. It was an easier fit. They had access to the character. They didn't have access to a lot of the female characters. She was the most well known. But let's talk about the Black Widow from the comics real quick. Black Widow from the comics is a character every average Marvel comic book fan knows. But it's never been a major character. She's always been B or C list. She was a teammate of Daredevil for a while when it was Daredevil and the Black Widow. Of course, she was, but her popularity like leveled up when Frank Miller had her in the Daredevil run. Frank Miller leveled up a lot of characters, the Punisher, Black Widow, Daredevil himself, Bullseye, took a silly villain called Bullseye and turned him into one of the best fucking villains they have. And quite frankly, took the Kingpin to new heights as well. They did a Marvel Knights Black Widow series, which I think the movie might be using a bit, from what I know, which was pretty good. But never like one of my favorite characters, never one of the worst characters, but she's a damn good version of it. But how well would the Avengers have done if they put her in a potato sack? Well, they practically did in Endgame with that. They put a piece of metal over her boobs. I'm sure you all caught that. That giant piece of metal that's over her boobs, the square piece of metal, looked terrible. Her costumes looked terrible towards the end. And this uglying down of really hot women is fascinating to watch, because you're like, oh, because people are like, I want Hollywood to burn. Oh, they're going to with this. Fact of the matter, though, is if ScarJo has an award show to go do tomorrow, how's she going to be dressed? Oh, she'll be in a $25,000 to $125,000 revealing dress with about $100,000 worth of jewelry on. And her boobs will be perky. She won't be walking around in a gray jumpsuit. Let's just say that. Actress Scarlett Johansson criticizes Black Widows for hypersexualization in Iron Man 2. Johansson specifically took issue with what she describes as the character's hypersexualization in Iron Man 2 in a newly published interview with Collider, of course. Fucking Collider. Collider, I think Collider was one of the first sites to use toxic fandom. I could be wrong, but they're one of the early adopters of that term. And they claim was done back in 2019 to promote the film's then 2020 release. What? Johansson is prompted by Collider to discuss the topic when asked, this sort of sexualization of superheroes, how did that affect Black Widow? And she responded, yeah, it's definitely has changed, and I'm part of that change probably, it's hard because I'm inside it, but probably a lot of that is actually from me too. There you go. I'll be 35 years old and I'm a mom and my life is different. Obviously 10 years have passed and things have happened and I have a much different, more evolved understanding of myself. She continued. She went on, as a woman, can we just stop this forever? Just drop the "asa." I know what you are. But thank you for reiterating the term. I'm in a different place in my life, and I felt more giving of myself as a woman and not sometimes probably not enough. I'm more accepting of myself, I think. Okay, well, there's nothing wrong with that. Johansson went on to discuss the hypersexualization of Black Widow and Iron Man 2. All of that is related to the move away from that kind of hypersexualization of the character. And I mean, you look back at Iron Man 2, and while it was really fun and I had a lot of great moments in it, the character was so sexualized, Yeah, that paycheck was good too, wasn't it? Wasn't the paycheck good? Pretty sure the paycheck was good. She continued, really talked about like she's a piece of something, like a possession or a thing or whatever, like a piece of ass, really. And Tony even refers to her as something like that at one point. What does he say? After being prompted by Collider's Ashley Robinson, she continued, I want some, yeah. And at that point, calls her a piece of meat. And maybe at the time that actually felt like a compliment, what I mean? Because my thinking was different. No, what? Okay. Context is king, as we all know. We all know that the context of that scene was Tony was being an idiot because that piece of meat was distracting him and was in control the whole time. Context matters. And the whole point of that line is, when the character speaks it, the audience goes, she's more than a piece of meat. She's a dangerous piece of meat. Johansson elaborated, maybe I even would have, my own self-worth was probably measured against the type of comment, or like a lot of young women, you come into your own and you understand your own self-worth. It's changing now. Well, obviously ScarJo has not been to therapy because you are supposed to use your I statements there. I would say that Scarlett Johansson knows damn well why she got roles, and she shouldn't have to apologize for it. She shouldn't have to. If fucking Collider asks you that kind of question, I don't know, just say, yeah. Did you see my costume? Did you see my cleavage the whole time? Yeah, it's part of the gig. As she concluded, now people, young girls, are getting much more positive message, but it's been incredible to be a part of that shift and be able to come out the other side. Are you out the other side? Are we out the other side? And be a part of that old story, but also progress, evolve. I think it's pretty cool. Well, evolving is cool, ScarJo. I completely agree. And ScarJo is sometimes called out PC. So I think she tries to, oh, there's my microphone right there. That's the microphone I got. And that's where I bought it from. I think she just wants to keep her job. I think that's why I call them adult pretenders. These are scripted. I don't know why people even go to, it's like, well, I until I did YouTube, I never cared what an actor thought about a movie before or after. I never went to an interview. I never thought I would get anything insightful. Occasionally you do, like when Anthony Hopkins says, don't listen to actors, they're stupid. Something like that might pop up. For the most part, they say stuff like, it's 10 years later, so I'm different as a person. I've evolved. It's like, yeah, no shit. It's like, it'd be like me going on a live stream and go, yeah, I got up this morning and I brushed my teeth and flossed, had a little water, said hi to my son. We went and worked out at the gym, had some more water, had a rice cake because I'm on a fast. Yeah, it's like, duh. We know. How about something insightful? Now, as far as the hypersexualization that she was led into by Collider, you better start hypersexualizing shit soon, Hollywood. We were talking about on Friday Night Tights. What was one of the biggest differences between Westworld Season 1 and Season 2 and Altered Carbon Season 1 and Season 2? Well, both Season 1s were made prior to 2016, as in filmed prior to 2016. Season 2s were made after 2016. 2016 was the Me Too Time's Up era, where all of a sudden you couldn't show boobs anymore. For one, it's part of the story. That's part of the reason people go to the movies to see things they wouldn't normally see in real life. That's part of the fantasy. It's part of the escapism. And and Hollywood is wondering why it's in trouble right now. And that's why it is the best time to be an independent creator. There's a but behind this, though. To be an independent creator, because now there are stories that people are hungry for that Hollywood will refuse to tell. And these, the number is growing. Sword and sorcerer and sandals fantasy. There's no way Hollywood could make a proper sword and sorcerer and sandals fantasy, period. Certain science fiction you can't make now. Certain action movies you can't make now. Biggest problem is with making your own stuff on that front is money, obviously. And no matter what you crowdfund, how do you get it to people? It's not like a comic, but there is an opportunity, at least for publishing. Like if you're going to write a novel, or if you're going to write a comic, definitely now's the time. Now is the best time you will ever have. Back in November 2019, she appeared on the Hollywood Reporter's Oscar Actress Roundtable, where she said she regretted being typecast as hypersexualized. Okay, I thought I heard that before. She answered the question from the Hollywood Reporter, Rebecca Ford, who asked, I'm curious, how important is it for all of you to shift what people expect you based on your choices? Johansson responds, it's so different now. The climate is so different now. There are so many wonderful opportunities for women of every age to play all different types of people. Because there wasn't that opportunity 10 years ago. We went in to recount how she believed she was typecast. I feel when I was working in my early 20s and even in my late teens and early 20s, I felt I got somehow typecast. I was very hypersexualized. I don't know about that. She was in indie flicks. She went on to say, I guess at a time seemed okay for everyone. Yeah. You guess at a time it seemed okay for everyone. It was another time, even though it wasn't part of my own narrative. It was kind of crafted for me by probably a bunch of dudes in the industry. And I guess that worked then. But it was certainly difficult for me to try to figure out how to get out of being an ingenuine or the other woman or the... I don't even know what that word is, because it was never anything that I had intended. I had been working since I was 8 years old, and certainly that was never a goal of mine. I sort of had to shake it up a little bit because I just didn't want to do work on stuff that I knew how to do, and I knew I could do it, and what it was like. What is this? I have no idea what she's talking about. I remember thinking at the time, maybe I need a different job and in the industry that would sort of be more fulfilling, because there seemed nowhere to go. She went on to detail how a stint on Broadway changed her outlook, and also I actually had my opportunity to do a play, to do an Arthur Miller play, blah, blah, blah. She added an amazing how theater is limitless. Yeah, okay. Scarlett got into the industry because she was hot. And now she's having to go through the song of dance that I regret being hot. I am sorry I was beautiful. I'm sorry that all of my working out and, just being born beautiful happened. And I want to shame myself for being beautiful. I'm sorry for having these really big knockers. I apologize. I'll put a metal plate over them in the next Avengers movie so people won't feel bad. ScarJo, you be proud of those knockers, okay? You be proud of yourself. You don't apologize for anything. You don't apologize for being hot. And we're catering to all this fucking crazy fucking shit. And now ScarJo's ashamed of being hot. What does the world come to? Metal plates over ScarJo's boobs. I don't know about Black Widow. She was fucking great in the Avengers. Her fucking scene is so fucking cool. And yeah, it's too bad. It's too bad. I put up a tweet the other day, and I just said, I'm going to paraphrase what I said. I said, hey, I'm going to the gym. And then I put up a quote. It was a quote from my sponsor, basically. I am not a doctor, by the way, Mama Susan. Not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a mechanic. I'm not an astronaut. I'm not a superhero. Not an evil genius. I'm not a mastermind. I'm just a YouTuber. So don't take any medical advice from me. But I just said, hey, I'm going to go to the gym because the best defense against any virus is basically being healthy. That's what my sponsor, who is a doctor, told me. And I'm sure that's what every doctor told you out there. It's not exactly rocket science. If you're in better shape, you are able to fight things a little better. Not everything. Doesn't mean you're invincible. And that's all. I just said, hey, I'm going to go to the gym. 51, not getting any younger. And man, did that trigger people on Twitter. And it just proved what a shitty place Twitter is. If you just say, hey, go. I didn't even tell people to go to the gym. I said, I'm going to the gym. I got one guy saying, you don't need to go to the gym. Well, I need to go to the gym. You don't have to go to the gym. I wasn't telling you to go to the gym. I was just saying I'm going to the gym, but it triggers all kinds of people. And like, that's a personal problem. And that's one of the biggest problems we have. And that's what we're fighting. We're fighting these people who are so fucking insecure. You can't even go on Twitter and say, go to the gym. And if they see that, they feel bad and they need to fight it. I'm not going to worry about that kind of stuff. And businesses are going to fall apart worrying about that kind of shit. No, you don't have to go to the gym. You can take a 2-hour walk every day, go run on the beach, do whatever you want for exercise, whatever. I need to go to the gym. I like the structure of it. I had workout equipment at home one time, and it's just too easy to blow off. A trip to the gym is structure in my life, and it's routine, and I like that. And I can't think of going a day without it. You know, I'm not like, hardcore. I work out something every day. But I just like to stay in shape. It's good for the heart. It's good for the mind. It's a place where I can clear my fucking head, think about making videos and shit. But just putting that tweet up made people feel bad. And now we've got everybody in Hollywood worrying about, oh my God, are my big, beautiful breasts going to make people feel bad? What about the people they make feel good? Think about them. Oh, Hollywood's hypocrisy is doing them in, folks. It's doing them in. As I stated on Friday Night Tights, we are seeing the beginning of the end of a lot of traditional entertainment institutions, including Hollywood. Hollywood is slowly being taken over by Silicon Valley. I think I've been saying that on my podcast since I started it. I think I might have even said that in my first podcast. It's happening. Amazon is going to be running the fucking show pretty soon. If they aren't already. Hollywood tried to battle it for a little bit. But their hypocrisy is going to do them in, and now they're putting so many rules on themselves, it's going to be impossible for them to make anything good. But the worst part of this story is we need them to turn around. We do, because they are an institution here. They either have to turn around or completely fall apart. This beginning of the end, this is going to be a long, slow end. And it'll be around in some form or another for probably the rest of our lifetime. But as far as being the peak, the go-to, the main thing, for actors, for a long time there, it was the peak of entertainment was going and making it in the movies, having a hit movie, a blockbuster movie. It's not the case anymore. Movie stars are starting to fade out. And remember when all the big bands started fading out with music and we didn't get any big bands and music just fragmented? Of course, we got the pop stars and stuff, but like good music, and now it's just completely, it's still out there and it's harder to find, but it's fragmented. And that's what that's what television and movies are going through right now. And it's going to hurt for a long, long fucking time. It's going to hurt. One way they could keep it from hurting is making good entertainment and not being divisive and not taking a side politically, which they already have done. And now they are just part of the system. They are just a tool. They've become propaganda. There was a time when saying, Star Trek Discovery is propaganda was considered hyperbole or hyperbole. You can't say that now, especially when they've come out and admit that they are a platform. And they call themselves platforms for influence. That's why Brie Larson took the role. She thought she could be more influential. And then she got her name taken off her sequel. Which is hilarious. It is hilarious. Let me refresh this. Oh my God, the Marvels. I can't wait for the Marvels to come out. I'm going to put it on my calendar and I'm going to count days. I'm going to count the days till it comes out, because once that comes out, man, it's over for the MCU unless they put Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, resurrect Chris Evans as Captain Marvel, bring back Robert Downey Jr., bring back Thanos, and freaking have, I don't know, who else? But resurrect Stan Lee. That's what they would need to do to make that movie good. Digitally, they probably could digitally reconstruct them. Somebody's going to do that someday, and that's going to be disgusting. Disgusting. Hey, we got a $49.99 super chat. Thank you. Someone should ask ScarJo if she felt sexualized in the early 2000s when she was one of the many notches on Derek Jeter's belt. Ooh. She probably did. But did Derek Jeter feel sexualized? That's the question I have. I haven't thought about Derek Jeter in a long time. He's a sports ball player. Hang on a second. My other mouse is there. I need to get it over there. We've got on the donation side for $5. Thanks to Torn. Oh, I read that one already. We've got Hardwick Benthau for $1. It says, to me, the original Golden Age Captain America continuity in which he stayed in his own era and went on to fight communists is the definitive timeline, and the 60s retcon in which he got frozen is an alternate universe. Yeah. I love ripping out all the I'm going to start doing that more, because there's tons of pictures of Cap punching commies. And they're all, it's not canon, it's a retcon. I'm all, yeah, you could say that, but that actual drawing that you're seeing when they wrote and drew that comic book, that was Steve Rogers. Who did the retcon again? Englehart? I can't remember. Please keep the mess. Oh, okay. I'm supposed to keep that message private, so I won't read past that. Hardwick Benthau for $1. Are you familiar with Ty Smith, a.k.a. Modern Renaissance Man? I'm not. I've been watching his videos for a couple of years, and he seems to be a great guy. Great sense of humor and offers a lot of wisdom. His recent rant against CRT at his school meeting went viral. I will check it out. I'll check it out. Yeah, there's a couple of, is it a student? I think I saw that video. Maybe we can watch it a little later. The new Black Widow movie is being largely based on the 2016 Wade Samney Black Widow run. Oh, then I missed that. Hardwick Benthau for $1. Yeah. So it's not going to be based on the Marvel Knights run. That's too bad. It would have been better. Scarlett Johansson said in the interview that she saw the hypersexualized, her words, portrayal of her Iron Man 2 character as flattering at the time, but has changed her view due to being 35 and a mother. Do you buy her explanation? Says Hardwick Benthau, or asks Hardwick Benthau for $1. No. I just think it's the right thing to say at the right time. Do I blame her? No. Do I find it that bad? No. Hollywood's hypocrisy is something that what it does is it builds a public perception, a false narrative, and that's what we're constantly fighting. So we know ScarJo's full of shit. And that's the thing we're playing out now. When it comes from an actor in an interview, fine. They're always full of shit. They can just be full of shit all the time. They can be speaking their lines. It's a movie. Overall, doesn't harm much. But now we're seeing this theater in real life, in news. We're seeing politicians go out there and knowingly lie. People just go, and we all know the truth, right? And we have to fight through this now, and it's just become constant. So the truth has been defeated at this point, right? And so we go out here and we speak our piece on YouTube, or you speak your piece somewhere else. And now we're at the point where we're hesitating, and we straight out can't. If I want to stay on this platform, there's certain truths I have to find ways to talk around them or use YouTube speak. And my philosophy is it's better to be smart and stay here, and it's their rules and YouTube runs it. And if I hold to my ideals and I say, screw it, I'm going to say certain words out loud, and then I get removed from the platform, then I'll have all my ideals alone in a room, but I won't be very effective. I won't be having a lot of fun that way. So I do it as long as I can. I work around it. I am also firmly of the belief if you want to change the game, you have to play by the rules for a long time. And you know who did that? The infiltrators, the SJWs. That's what they did. They played by the rules. Then they changed the game. And then they stopped playing by the rules because they don't need to, because now they make them. And it's up to us to do the same. Listen, I heard Script Doctor say something this morning. Thought was pretty wise. Someone asked about, it's pretty much in line to what I feel about the independent thing. We need the independent thing. We always need the independent. That's the farm leagues for talent. A lot of big things can come out. If you go out there and hit big, you could be the next J.K. Rowling. Who knows? Always go out and follow your dream. Even if it's a hobby, be creative. It's good for the soul. But we need independent, shows and comics and music all the time. Will it take over or be a replacement for the industry in our lifetime? No. We need a creative and political revolution within that industry. We need to flip that industry. It needs to happen. We can't walk away from it. It's too influential. It's going to be hard. And again, neutrality. If we can get back to somewhat of a neutrality, because everything has just gone so past the line now. And the best example of like something I've been a fan of all my life, all of a sudden I'm not a fan of it, and I'm being called an alt-right Doctor Who fan or an alt-right Star Trek fan. When it gets so fucking stupid. Yeah, all those guys in white robes enjoying Star Trek when it's fucking ridiculous. So these shows that have always been the way they were drastically change, and all of a sudden the fans, the hardcore longtime fans, are now ists and phobes. That's the shit we need to fight. We're just trying to bring it back. What they call progress has been regress. And when we see the CRT, now I'm saying CRT because I'm not too sure I should be saying that one out loud or YouTube's going to stamp it down. I'll just say CRT. You know what I mean? And CRT is woke. CRT is segregation. CRT is infiltrating our stories now, our schools. And that's why I'm pulling my kid out of school. There's nothing more entertaining and cringe than watching a little Twitter spat. It was a discussion about public schools between, and no offense, but a spat about public schools between a couple of childless stoners in their mid-40s. And it was the typical Republican, Democrat, Republican. It's like, yo. Do any of you have kids in school, in a public school, particularly in California? No. Oh, you think you know, but you don't know. Then you don't have any fucking idea how bad it is. Throwing more money at the public schools will not fix them. We need new fucking teachers. We need a new curriculum. But it's embedded now. It's absolutely embedded. So I have to pull my kid out. Great opportunity since he missed 2 school years. 2 fucking school years. But Gavin is out there smiling, saying California's roaring back. Hollywood used to be an inspiration to me. Now all they want to do is pander for woke virtue signal points. Keep calling out their bullshit, says Dalton Rambo. Oh, and I read that one. I need to refresh this. I need to refresh it. There we go. I don't mind reading Dalton. Super chat again. Jack White. You know I ask this every time. I wish you would get back together with Meg. Jack White. Last rock star. When do you think people will wake up and start seeing guys like Kehendy and Coates for what they are? It was what I was talking about earlier. People see them for what they are, Jack White. It's just they're on my team. So I'm going to back them because they piss off the other team. And as long as they piss off the other team, I don't care what they're about because it's about winning. Ultimately, it's about me being right. I am so fucking insecure that I need to be right all the fucking time. And if I'm not, my world will come crashing down instead of doing some soul searching. You know, right now, the most authoritative party is on the left. It's the way the pendulum swings. That's the way it is right now. The SJWs are a cult, and they're on the hardcore left. Not everybody, but there's a lot of my good friends who would consider themselves classic liberals going, I don't know what the fuck's going on because this isn't what I recognize anymore. I'm like, yeah, I feel you. I feel you. I've never been a part of either side. I go by the issue. I'm very pro-business, pro-private property, and I definitely don't like communism. Fuck communism. But I think people should be able to make as much money as they want. I'm also of the belief that we should be responsible adults and how much money do you need? You know, I don't want anybody mandating how much money you can make, but I can certainly ask the question, how much money do we need? You know, does Jeff Bezos need $1 trillion? Probably not. Jeff Bezos could have bailed out California and not even fucking broke a sweat, you know? It's going to be to the tune of billions of dollars California's getting bailed out, by the way. Bailing out the renters. And listen, real quick, if you're a single mom out there and you lost your job and you couldn't go to work because the state wouldn't let you go to work, and you got 2 kids and they wouldn't let you get the child care and stuff, yeah, I don't mind my tax money going to that. I don't. But what about all the people? Because Gavin Newsom today announced he's going to pay all the past due rent to get everybody up to speed, to get the landlords satisfied. Right now, there's a ban on evictions in California. It looks like they're going to extend that ban despite paying off all the rentees, which is going to make all the landlords bug out. So good luck with that. But I digress. What about all the people who burned through their savings to pay their rent on time and did the responsible thing? They're shit out of luck. But I am not entirely insensitive. I understand there were people who were put in a fucked up situation by a government who should have never have kept them from going to work in the first place, in my opinion. And cost a lot of businesses. There's nothing for them. This was just a way to for Gavin Newsom to win his recall. And it probably will win it for him. Probably will. People are, I hate to say it, that simple. You know, it's like, oh, I'm being paid back with my own money to pay the rent that I should have been able to pay in the first place. And nobody's having a real conversation about, wow. So there's a couple states that were open the whole time and numbers weren't really different. It's almost like things were going to happen the way they were, whether people went to work or not. And I'm not saying there shouldn't have been like some, social distancing and stuff, but like things should have been left open with responsible and practical temporary regulations. We'll see how many of these regulations stay temporary, though. Hollywood benefited great. They were okay. They were fucking considered essential. Imagine the state, I've said this before, telling you weren't essential. So all these people who are praising Gavin Newsom for getting you up to speed on your rent. What's next? Are you going to be able to pay your rent next month? Because they told the story of a woman who lost her job, and I feel terrible for her. And listen, a mother of 2, mother of 3, dad bailed. She was working 2 jobs. She needed the daycare. The state shut all that shit down. I don't have a problem with her getting paid. I don't. I just don't see the government taking it case by case. If it was case by case, I would rather the money go there than in some other stupid fucking program, for sure. If they're going to take the money, and it's federal money, by the way. So actually, United States, you're paying for it. I forgot to mention that part. You're paying for it, United States. So the South Dakota citizen out there, you're paying the rent for Californians who were past due when they didn't need to be. We also paid for the movie theaters that are going to flounder, and some are going to go out of business anyway because it was a bad bet. We're paying for a lot of shit with this fake money that we've got going around now. Made and lost $100K from $600 in crypto. Holy bazongo. What? Well, then you didn't lose anything, really. But wow, Ralph Mack, I didn't know crypto was that crazy. So you got up to 100,000. Yeah, bummer you didn't cash out. I don't know if you can cash out or not because I know nothing about it. It's funny money to me. I'll happily be Boomer Gary with crypto. I'm just gonna move to the country. That's all. I agree with It's a Gundam. Our barter is going to be old porn on VHS. That's what our barter will be. Got to be smart. Saying truth conditioning is strong. Yes, Ralph Mack, for $2 Australian. You got to be smart to stay here. We have to behave differently. We have a different set of rules. That's why how we behave matters. Carrie Smith has been on I don't know. She's been genius. Maybe it was the marriage. By the way, congratulations, Carrie Smith. Sorry, Carrie Smith Simps. She's officially married now. So that chance is now officially gone. But she is an amazing person, an amazing woman. And she's been on quite the Twitter terror lately of common sense, the terror of common sense. And she's been talking a lot about relationships within our sphere with people who speak the same language as we do. And we having to hold ourselves to a certain set of ideals to be. We need to have integrity, especially if we're slinging the bullshit and also going through the bullshit. And while a lot of people in our sphere, a lot of channels, and that sphere happened because of you guys. What happens on YouTube, if you don't know, most of you do. So I'm stating the obvious here, is you'll subscribe to a couple channels, right? And then you'll leave comments on both of those channels. And then YouTube will say, hey, this person likes these 2 channels and that person likes these 2 channels, and they're leaving comments. They will start suggesting to each other. And that's how it happens. So it does happen naturally, right? So a lot of us get grouped together by the YouTube algorithm. Some of us form relationships. Some of us, go on live stream. Some of us don't. Some of us don't get along. Some of us don't like each other. Some of us, whatever. Doesn't matter. What matters is there's the words we're speaking here on YouTube, right? But in a lot of sense, words can be wind if it's not backed up by your behavior, right? Behavior counts. It matters to a lot of people. So, and it gives the context to your words or my words. So if I'm behaving like a complete asshole, right? Well, I'm not doing myself any good or any supposed cause any good. So yeah, that shit's got to matter. And I'll repeat what she said again. You could speak the same words as I do. She said, I'm paraphrasing. She says, I don't care if you speak the same words as I do. I would rather talk to an honest SJW than a narcissist, sociopathic narcissist who's, behaving like an asshole, basically. I got to agree with her on that one. I do. She's smart. In the Flash movie on Keaton's Earth, do you expect there to be a horror-based villain like Scarecrow or Solomon Grundy because of Andy's background? That would be cool. I would love to see Solomon Grundy. Fuck yeah. I mean, I think these movies, which were planned before the Coof, but I think they got the fast track. I don't know if you remember when the Coof was starting, I said, and at the starting of this year, I said, this has to be the year of the fan. This has to be the year of fan service. You need to get people back to the theaters. You need to be less woke. You need to be a lot less woke, and you just need to give us action, suspense, fun, forget the politics altogether, and just entertain people. And I think that's what that probably was the intention. But then they ended up getting woke anyway. Sure, I would love to see Michael Keaton back as Batman in the Batman uniform. That'd be great. Is it going to be a minute, 2 minutes? I don't know. Do I want to sit through a 2-hour Ezra Miller fucking movie? I mean, it's an Ezra Miller movie. Remember, Gina Carano got canceled for a tweet. Ezra Miller strangled a freaking pregnant woman on video. And he's starring in his next movie. I wonder how that happened. Oh, I know exactly how that happened. That's one of those things we can't say out loud. But you know what I'm thinking. Let's just say Ezra Miller's made a lot of Hollywood producers happy with his performance. Is my guess. That's my speculation. Yeah, I don't know if I can sit through a 2-hour. I mean, I guess I'll watch it to review it, but it's Michael Keaton coming back is ruined by him coming back in an Ezra Miller Flash movie. Now, hopefully but they don't believe that much in him because they're trying to throw everything but the kitchen sink in there except for Ezra Miller. So, hey, maybe it'll be good. Then, of course, we got the Spider-Man movie, which sounds way better with Sam, not Sam Raimi directing, but with Toby coming back and Doc Ock, but maybe they'll fuck that story up. I don't know. Chances are they'll fuck it up. When they did these big crossover events in the comic books, it was meant to be fun. It was meant just as a gimmick to get readers kind of re-energized again. Like when storylines were drawing thin or sales were dipping a little bit, you want to pump up the sales, you have a big event. You want to really pump them up, do a crossover with DC and Marvel. As a matter of fact, I just pulled it out of my box over there because I was talking to Ryan about it the other day. My favorite crossover of all time, number one, is Teen Titans and X-Men, Darkseid, Dark Phoenix. That one, and they came out with that one right when the X-Men and Teen Titans were blowing up. It's a really good story. So if you can pick it up, it's a Marvel super special. Can't remember. And of course, Marvel DC crossover. But it's great. Pick it up. But that's what they're trying to do. So in a sense, but then we get this Supergirl casting and it puts it all to shit. So let's talk about that for a second. Let's look at that Supergirl costume. I saw the picture of Michael Keaton. He looked great. He did. Michael Keaton's a little crazy, but I like him. 1989 was an amazing year. I was high for most of it. And I saw Robert Meyer Burnett put on Twitter that he got to go to the premiere and he had his Batman ticket. Shit. I snuck into theater, and then opening night, me and my friend went up and down San Diego and stole every fucking Batman poster we could and wallpapered our apartment that we were late on the rent because we were getting high all the time with Batman posters. And it made the news. It made the newspaper. So we got leaked set photos of Andy Muschietti's The Flash provide first look at Sasha Calle as Supergirl. Sasha Calle. Yeah, that's not Supergirl. But if it's an alternate, I know there's a ton of Supergirls. I know it's canonical. I know. But that's not that Supergirl. So it's probably going to be a different Supergirl. And is this the one they're going to run with a movie with? I just say good luck. Kind of looks like Miss Marvel to me. I heard Lethal Lightning gushing over this girl's beauty. I would say she's very young. I can't look at her like that. It looks like I should be like picking her up for soccer practice or something like that to hang out with my kid. But yeah, that looks like Super Them. That's Super Them. Let's go to this whole tweet. Yeah, that looks terrible. and as mentioned this in his video, those reds, they kind of don't match. I guess they're supposed to bleed in, and that does look terrible. That looks like a costume found. That looks like one of my kids' costumes after he's, played in it for like 2 years straight, and I found it at the bottom of his toy bin. Bad. And sure, they're going to fix it in post, but what the fuck is this? Oh my God, the PMRC would just be so happy right now. The super prudes from the 80s would be so happy right now. Nothing against her. Don't know her. She didn't design the costume. But this is the state of comic book movies, and costumes matter. And this one looks terrible. Everything about it looks terrible. Absolutely awful. A set of 4 photos and 2 images shared by Q Wally West show Calais simply standing around in costume. What the hell is this? Oh. So it's supposed to look like this costume. This would have been better, and maybe it will. But no, that's the cape attached there. Yeah, it's just boring looking. So, however, the use of an unbroken section of blue in making up the majority of her costume, extending from the bottom of her emblem all the way down to the soles of her feet, suggests that Muschietti and his production team may have also been influenced in their costuming endeavors by outfits from various female Kryptonians, such as Superwoman of Earth 11 and Future State Supergirl. Yeah, which is just the Superman costume. I mean, there's not a lot of thought going into this. But at least she's hypersexualized because she looks like a girl. Looks better right there. It's fine. Is this anything I'm going to like rush out to the theater and see if it was just her? No. There's Ezra Miller. I don't know if he's got a picture of, I don't know who has a picture of Michael Keaton, but he looked good. It's fine. We don't need to see it. This is Miss Marvel all over again. It's just the dumbing down, and it's not being taken seriously anymore. And it could, if it wasn't for Michael Keaton is the absolute hook for this movie. Otherwise, I don't think it would do very well. I don't think I'm going out on a limb by saying that. I can't remember who else is in it, and we'll find out when it comes out. This thing has been in development for 6 years. 6 fucking years. Warner Brothers is so fucking stupid. They're the worst fucking company. They are the worst fucking company. They are so bad that AT&T couldn't get rid of them fucking fast enough. And now they're part of Discovery Warner Brothers, and now they're easier to sell. And who knows what's going to happen. But if we're expecting another giant corporation to come in and swing in and save our characters, don't. I've seen enough of it. I've seen enough of big corporations buying characters. And Disney fucked up Marvel Comics. Disney fucked up Marvel Comics. You fucked up the easiest lay ever. Spider-Man. Now, yes, Marvel had been fucking him up before Disney came around. But they really fucked him up when he came in. And this is just more of the fucking same. I don't know what to even say at this point. Other than they're making, pretty girls ugly now. They're making pretty girls ugly now. They're trying to dumb them down. They're trying to make them feel bad. And nobody's going to want to watch this shit. And then if it succeeds, they'll come out and say, well, it was because we put Supergirl in that costume. No, it's because Michael fucking Keaton was in it. Captain Marvel succeeded because it was sandwiched in between two of the most anticipated sequels of all time. And you know what? Marvel finally admitted that by taking Captain Marvel's name off the fucking title of her own sequel. I want you to think about that. It was such a triumph for Marvel. I mean, Captain Marvel was the first movie to have a woman in it. It was the first movie to have a black woman in it. It was the first movie to have 2 women talking to each other. Ever. And they took Captain Marvel's name off the sequel. Demi Moore's tapeworm for $2. You don't get the gym. You don't need the gym if you eat a couple of my eggs. Oh. No, I'll need a casket. Gotham City Comics. What's up? Thank you, Gary, for sending people over to the shop. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, sir. Oh, did they come? Yeah, some people said that they were going to be in the area. And I wasn't sure exactly. We were supposed to go by your shop, by the way, and we didn't have time when we were on our trip out to Texas. So next time I go out to Texas, I'll go by your shop. Glad you're still around. Keep fighting a good fight, brother. And thank you for the $5. $4.99. The Flash movie. Oh, I read that one. Jack White. Again, for $5. Gary, what's going on with you and Doomcock? You guys haven't done the Inquisition in the last couple of weeks. Well, the Inquisition was stopped because of the incident, which we took care of and squashed. And then I felt like, well, I don't know if I don't want to say much, but he and I need to talk a little more. We'll just say that. But I thought, yeah, we'll just say that. My schedule, I have said on my live streams, and I'll say it again, that my schedule is fucked. It's crazy right now. So it's kind of hard for me to plan multiple live streams, much less 3 a week. So something's going to have to give at some point, or potentially 4. But there was a miscommunication. But the last time we talked, he was having surgery, and I thought he was going to take a couple weeks off. And in our last email, I said, hey, just rest up. And we could possibly come back and do an exozone. And he said, cool, enjoy your Father's Day. And that was the last email. Then there was the tweet that went up. That confused me. So that was a little confusing after that email. But he and I are gonna talk. But we had talked about an exozone. We did talk about an exozone prior to that. But I generally don't talk about my conversations behind the scenes here. So as far as live stream scheduling goes, it's going to be completely fucked. That's why I started at 4 today, because I had a couple of hours that I could stop and do a live stream. I'm in the middle of doing 2 videos right now. And they are, well, one's Picard, so that takes a lot of work. Now, I say work. I don't mean to use that word. I have to watch like a couple of episodes of Next Generation and then watch an episode of Picard. So that's kind of how I've worked it to where I don't go insane. So I watch some TNG, and then I watch an episode of Picard, or part of an episode, and then we have to get into what stupid thing happened and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I love what I do. It's fun. It just takes a little time. That's all. But as far as the live streaming, we'll let you guys know what's going on when we know. And I'll know something. I've been waiting to talk, to actually have a conversation with Doomcock, not just a DM. Sir Pete, New York, for $49.99. Someone should ask ScarJo if she felt sexualized in the early 2000s when she was. I read that one already. Okay, we'll get past it again. But thanks again, Bob Dorsey, that's $50. Thank you, Bob Dorsey. Enjoy watching your show, man. Yours and Friday Night Tights. Sad it's only once a week anyway. Enjoy. Well, thank you. Yeah. If I could do it every day, it'd be great, but we can't. Once a week is good. I think it's perfect. And we have a lot of fun doing it, and it's because it's just a bunch of guys bullshitting, which isn't okay anymore, apparently. I was wondering, I think it's just a good chemistry with that show, right? And I'm not the center of attention on that one, right? Which is cool. It's hilarious every week, and you never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen. And sure, but if you haven't checked it out, Eric was fucking great. Eric was great last Friday. I love Eric. Eric is a true Renaissance man. He does not fuck around. He's a great YouTuber and a better person. Go subscribe to Eric July and follow him on Twitter. The term is fat mads. They're fat and mad, says not applicable for $2. That is true. Debs, Iona for £3. Thanks for the super sticker. I appreciate it. I want more tapeworm representation, but you don't see me complaining. All you see are drug ads to kill me and my people. That's Yahtzee propaganda to us. I agree with you. Demi Moore's tapeworm for $5. Thank you. That guy is going to run with that joke forever, and I love it. Commit to the bit, brother. Commit to the bit. You know, I have been watching Babylon 5. Fucking Babylon 5 is great. So I'm into the Shadow War now. I'm well into the Shadow War. I finally got there. I watch like a couple episodes a night before I go to bed, or in some cases on Saturday, I think I watched 6 episodes. And it's fucking great. So I imagine I will set aside a real BBC to discuss it because I love it. So for all the people who were pushing me to watch Babylon 5, I eventually listened like I do, and I'm watching it and I'm loving it. So you were right. And since there is such a drought in good entertainment, I found the time to do it. At work. Brie Larson, says Cash Kester for $2. Oh my goodness. Hang on. I just saw these now. Let me get that over here. Oh, I can do it this way. Never mind. Oh, at number 1 too. What's up, Jorge? George Moilo for $200. George! This is one of 2. George, I love you, man. By the way, Mrs. Nerdrotic was trying to reach you about something. So check your DMs. I don't know if you got the message, but check your DMs for Agent Bossy Boots on Twitter. Hollywood wants you hopeless, isolated, and afraid. From an SJW Supergirl to Luke sucking blue milk from an alien teat, we all have the power to fight back and win. Throw sand in the gears by sending your voices into the stream till our echoes drown out their biggest lies and woke hypocritical sins. Oh, that's fucking good. We got another one. Hang on. It's almost like George is a writer, but he is. But George Malo for $300 more. George! Oh, my God. Nerdrotic, sponsored by George Moilo. Number 2, the most destructive action you can take against hypocritical Hollywood is to stand your ground, is to stand your fucking ground. Back up what you say, stand your ground, say fucking no. I'm adding to this, by the way. Stand your fucking ground. Share, smile, love, explore, make new friends. Camaraderie is Tinseltown's universal kryptonite. Be bold, dream big, fight hard, get fucking busy living life. All hail Nerdrotic. Hail George Moylan. Oh my God. Fuck yeah. Well, I mean, Hollywood is, it's SJW now. What's the fuel for the SJW, for the insecure? Is envy. It's envy. It's envy. Always constantly looking what others have, always looking at themselves, what I don't have, wanting things you can't attain. Because there's some things we can't attain, like I can't fly, I can't be a superhero, I can't be a wizard. I'm okay with that. But I'm seeing so much real bizarre and strange and unhealthy and very concerning mental health detachment on TikTok and other places here on this platform. Behavior I've seen just of late, which is concerning. It's very concerning. How many mental health problems we're seeing with our kids, and not just our kids. And I think that all comes from obviously parenting, and it also comes from comfort. A lot of comfort. And I hear that word entitled gets thrown at me all the time. Entitled. I feel like an entitled fan. No, I think as a customer, you're entitled some basic human respect. And I think as a customer a longtime customer of comics and Star Wars, I would like to see them shown respect, but I'm not entitled to any, no. Not at all. But there's this entitlement out there that, well, I don't want to work for this thing, but I want it. You know what? The Star Trek communist. The Star Trek communist is out there, you know, posting away, sipping his little blue drinks or whatever with his, and I think he actually thinks that if we overthrow the government, he can continue posting away and talking about Star Trek, like like something like Star Trek would exist after an overthrow of our government and all of our institutions. And we'd have to what would be our money after that? Like, does he think we could overthrow the government, be communist in 2 weeks, and then like Hollywood would start back up? Does he think that would happen? I think there's people who actually think that would happen. There's a lot of detachment from fucking reality out there that we're fighting all the time, and it's getting harder. And I said it would get worse before it gets better. And I think we're in the getting worse phase, which is needed, It's like an addict heading towards his bottom. That's where Hollywood is heading, and we need Hollywood to hit their bottom. But no, how do you fight misery? How do you fight envy? Be happy. Be yourself. Don't sweat the small stuff. Don't sweat the small stuff. That's all you got to do. All right. Let's go over here. Oh, thank you, George. I appreciate it. Cisco Star says Bezos' value is not the same as hard cash. A lot of that is on paper and is mere stock value, which is also a similar widespread problem that we have culturally, and dumb corps are going at a paper market. So Bezos' value is not the same as hard cash. No, probably not. It's still a lot, though. We'll see what our fake dummy paper money will be afterwards. I don't really know. Hey, Gary, just wanted to let you know that I recently sent you an email. Get to it whenever you can and keep me in mind. And I still think you're great. Thank you, Mikey Gussler. And I think you're great too. And I'll get back to your email. Not applicable for $2. Wonder how many casting agents Ezra strangled. Probably a lot. Not applicable. She's a little porky. Probably needs some soccer. She looks fine. Except for that costume. It looks terrible. The costume looks absolutely terrible. Digitalis for $5. My fear is that Toby returning is just their way of introducing the Spider-Verse and paving the way for live action Miles Morales. Yeah. I think Digitalis, yes, I think Tom Holland is the last White Spider-Man. The last Peter Parker Spider-Man. Unless they just make Peter Parker black. But I think he's the last white Spider-Man. I think why am I blanking on his name? I'll remember his name in a second. Stasios Pendanzas for $9.99. Hey, Gary, I am getting back into comics, and I am wondering what good recommendations you have for current titles. Any publisher. It seems so dull. But I can't find anything good. I'd say with current publishers, if you want something consistently good, I still think Dark Horse is the best. That's where I would go. Hellboy. They pretty much, for the most part, I'm thinking, stay out of that garbage. Stay out of the SJW identity politics garbage. They don't overproduce. They make a lot of money off manga, and products and licenses. They do good. Sam Whiskey, thank you for the 99-cent phallic unicorn. I appreciate it. Tovak, as Ivana says, God sent me. As Ivanova says, God sent me. Yes, Ivanova. Happy Father's Day. Are you in the Shadow War now? Hell yeah, I am, Kai MFS. And thank you. Yes, yesterday was Father's Day. And it was nice. It was nice. Hung out, had some dinner with the fam, chilled out. It was a beautiful thing. I also did something that's a tradition that I'll talk about some other time. I'll talk about it some other time. Thank you, George Moilo, again, for the $200 and $300 super chat. Holy crap. Jack White for $5. Newsom has a very punchable face, and I feel, and I live in New York. Yes. Yes. People have said that about me too. That's fine. Comic Quirks with Jimmy for $10. I work with special needs kids, and I got a fat bonus today, and I think they like me. So I went to your Amazon and picked up some equipment for my channel. Thanks, Gary. Hell yeah. I think I added the microphone. I can't remember, but if you go to the Amazon, and you don't have to, but if you want to know what I recommend, I have an Amazon store page or whatever. It's just search Amazon Nerdrotic, and it shows you all the equipment I use and stuff, and at least where you can find it. You could also find things like this at B&H. I like B&H. When do you think people will wake up and start seeing guys? I read this one already. Okay. Ralph Mack. Thank you. Okay. Jason Stevens for 55, I think it's Hong Kong pesos, we'll say. Not to be political, whatever, I brought stuff up too. But we just lost our last free speech newspaper in Hong Kong. Holy shit. No, that's fine, Jason. You can talk about that here all day long. From now on, it's 100% party speech. Rest in peace, Hong Kong. What was the name of the paper? And he's putting it in parentheses, so it probably was barely. That sucks. And that's going to be trouble, man. That's going to be trouble someday. Maybe someday soon. I wish you all luck, Jason. Free Hong Kong. What do you call a pirate droid? ARG2D2. Oh. I'll give you that. But you barely earned it. Thank you for the $4.99. Twiggy McStumplewizzle. ARG2D2. Lost Airman for $19.99. Red Smith of Wooten Major, a fantastic tale. Or Reed Smith of Wooten Major, fantastic tale. I'll check it out. Modalicious for $2, and thank you for the $19.99. So, all right, let me copy and paste that real quick. Okay, now I'll remember to check it out. Modalicious for $2. I like the glue. I know you do. You picked the right century to keep sniffing glue, Modalicious. For Captain Spire for $2. That coffee holding out there, sir? Keep cool. It is. I'm living. Oh, Captain Spire, you don't know. You don't know how much it's helped. Okay, because I'm fasting right now. So all's I'm doing. All's I'm doing right now is drinking water and drinking black coffee. And having the occasional rice cake in the middle of my fast here. It's good for the soul. I feel great, though. I actually feel great. So thank you for the coffee. It's helped. I just got done watching season 4 of Battlestar Galactica, Gata's Mutiny. It's amazing how good this show is. I feel bad it took so long for me to watch it. It's a shame modern shows can't be as good as this one. So say we all. David Hart for $100. So say we all. That was the high point. I love Battlestar Galactica, and I don't mind the ending at all. But Gata's Mutiny was like, what the? Yeah. Little sweet Gata. Richard Hatch was fucking so good in that one. So good. All right, we're going to have to run in a couple of minutes because I've gone 40 minutes over. I was only supposed to go 2 hours today. So I'm going to try to get this. Please name what good song I like Hercules 0 to 0. Please name one good song. And that's from Ralph Mack for $2. Is that Australian or Austrian dollars? I'm not sure. One good song. You know, when you're asked that, your brain just blanks. Because you want to pick the right, I want to pick the right one good song. NIB. Black Sabbath. I was listening to it at the gym today. Nativity in Black. Fucking love the bass in that. That's one good song. There's a million of them out there. Is it my favorite song of all time? No. Do I have a favorite song of all time? I don't know. I never thought about it. Just a song. What would be my favorite song? That's too much to think about. I like way too much music to just name one song. But NIB by Black Sabbath. Listened to it in the gym. Listened to it 3 times in a row because I freaking love it. Was sweating in there. Happy Father's Day. Oh, and by the way, thank you, Kai. I already read that one. And scrolling down. I just want to get a couple before I take off. I want to make sure. Sorry for the silence here. Okay. Oh, okay. Andrew Knapp for $5, hanging out here instead of the Timcast. Love your show. Well, I appreciate that. The Timcast is a big fucking show, and I watch replays, so I honestly think it's, what is it, at 7? So I'm probably running up against it now, and I don't stand a chance against the Timcast, and I usually don't run this late anyway. It's 7:30. This is kind of late for me. It's 10:30 on the East Coast. But thank you, Andrew. I appreciate that. We had Andrew Krigler on a couple weeks ago, and they had a split, and that's unfortunate, but Andrew handled it with class. Oops, sorry, hit the wrong button. I thought he handled it with class and dignity. And I thought that, hopefully those two kids can, whoops, I'm trying to do 2 things at once then. Adam, did I say Andrew? I said Andrew. Fucking I suck. Adam Krigler, I had him on. God, I was doing, see, that's what happens when I do 5 things at once. Adam Krigler was on. Forgive me, Adam. I suck. I was looking at 2 things at once here. I've got my messages up, but no excuse. Sorry. But no, they talked about their breakup a little bit, but didn't go too much into it, which I think is good. I don't know much about it. But that shit happens, man. That shit happens. And it kind of sucks that he was living there, but Adam just got his own house. So that's good news. Congratulations on getting his own house, and we'll get him back. He was great. That was another great show too. Fucking say Andrew. God damn it. This is why I can't. This is why I shut my phone for most of the time. My stupid ADHD. So yeah. And Tim, I watched him. I subscribe to all of his stuff. I watch his videos. He's got that mansion now. I think he's got 15 people living on it, living the life. He's skating and eating fucking free range chicken eggs. Good for him, man. If you can do it. I don't want to watch that much news all the time, though. I mean, I would rather get it from Tim or other people than him. I mean, I get it from memeology as much as I get it from Tim. Oh, there was a freaking awful video on Twitter the other day. I almost don't want to talk about it. But it was a shooting in Chicago. And it was raw, dude. It was raw. And I think it was Meme who shared it. And fucking Chicago. Poor just some guy. I mean, it's actually worse than California, probably. Hang on a second. My phone is just jumping right now. So I'm going to silence it. It's distracting. Okay. Let me read a couple of more of these. If I can find them, that's what I've been having trouble. Maybe I got to them all. I don't think I did though. Brightest Day says thank you, Nerdrotics, and I thank them too. Shout out to you and Az for the real BBC reignited my love and appreciation for comics. Been buying Hulk and Moon Knight omnibus of classic. Cheers. That is a good pick. Both of those. Moon Knight had a great run with. I thought in the 80s, I didn't read. God, when did he pop back up again? When Bill Sienkiewicz was doing it, that was in the early 80s. That was a classic fucking run. I didn't read him much in the 90s unless he crossed over into something Spider-Man was doing. But in the 90s, I was reading mostly. I wasn't reading everything like I was in the comic shop. I was basically reading Spider titles, 1X title, Ghost Rider titles, and pretty much everything Batman. But there's a lot I didn't read. It's sparse in the 90s. It was depending on the author, and I was really getting into in the late 90s. I was getting into Vertigo and stuff too. But you can't go wrong buying some old Hulk and Moon Knight. Early Christmas stream, Nick Nero. Yeah, well, I see the Nerdrotic Nooner is the live stream that has suffered the most through all of the transition, because it was supposed to be initially like 4 days a week, and then I said, nah, let's just keep it to 2. And now I'm lucky if I do it once a week. So that's got to change. Because I like doing my Nerdrotic Nooner. It's the heart and soul of the channel, and I am as much a live streaming channel as I'm one that makes a video. Now videos grow the channel, but I love live streaming, so I've got to figure out my schedule, and that is been in flux in the last 3 weeks, but we'll get it figured out. There's a lot of variables involved. So once I know, you will know. Because right now, I don't know. Disney's hubris knows no bounds, even after they wrecked so much of our culture, I can totally see them going after Norse gods. Hell, it's how they view themselves in deciding what is best for us. Screw it. Lyle Hammock for $10. Thank you very much. Yeah, Disney no longer makes what they think we'll like. They make what they think we should like. Nick Nero, thanks again for the $4.99. Juan Suros, thank you for the $5. I appreciate it. Lyle Hammock for $20 says, is there any hope for Lord of the Rings under Amazon after a terrible, regressive, and destructive playbook? I guess there was never much hope, just a fool's hope. Hail and thank you for what you do. I can't wait to meet you in person in Vegas. Oh, Vegas. Vegas. August 11th through 15th. I'll let you know. I'll know where I'm staying soon. I mean, because I don't mind telling you what hotel I'm staying in. It's a giant fucking hotel. So the plan is, I mean, it's not every moment's going to be planned. All right. So it's going to be a meetup. And then we're going to try to do 2 evening meetups. But as it stands now, I'll only promise 1, but I want to get to 2. And then I'll give you this week. We'll have a place to give you information about so you can plan ahead. And other than that, I'll be running around Vegas, and in some cases we can hang out, and in some, I'll be by the pool some other times, but we'll definitely meet at the meetups. There's going to be giveaways. This is a thank you to you guys. So, I mean, I wish I could buy everybody's ticket to Las Vegas and fly you out and buy all your booze, but I can't. But I am going to feed you and give you a place, and we're going to give away some prizes and stuff, and just to say thanks. This is our thank you to you guys, and it's just a reason to have fun. It's an excuse to have some fun. So, and then some other friends of mine, some other channels are going to come along, and that's cool. I guess this will be the last one we did was pretty informal. We just showed up at a bar and made it a meetup. And because I had met the bar owner before, he was real cool and he gave us like a little space while we were there. But like we called him ahead of time and said, hey, we're doing a meetup. We might have, 20 people or so showed up. Well, 50 to 100, I think, showed up. And I don't know how many people are going to show up to this one. We'll try to prep for it as much as we can. But it's an excuse to have fun and hang out with people you've met in the chats and stuff. Why not? We've been cooped up for a fucking year. Some of us really need this. So if you can get out there, cool. There's a lot of cheap hotels. There's Airbnbs that are close to the strip that are affordable. If you can't, I'm sorry, but we will be live streaming from these events. Although usually live stream from events are a nightmare and unwatchable. But I'll do my best. There will be a Friday Night Tights episode. We have a place to do it, and that will go. But I can't wait to meet you there. Not another dime for $5. Remember to smash the like button. Thank you for smashing the like button, by the way. We got 2,100 likes. That's fucking awesome for my impromptu stream here. Busy pleasing. Oh yeah, I heard that. Okay. I was just reading Toxic Man Flu super chat from last time. Thunderstruck Thundercat for $4.99 says, Hey Gary, is the Inquisition on hiatus or for the time being? It is for the time being, yes. It has been for the last couple of weeks. And I mentioned earlier, once I talk to have an actual conversation with Doomcock, I'll let you know more. But once I know what my schedule is going to be like, because it's a little crazy, but there's other things too but I'll let you know when I know. But thank you. I appreciate it. So I'm going to, I think there was one here. I'm just going to make sure real quick. Oh, there we go. George Moilo again. Oh, George. Hey, Gary. George. Wondering if you know a comic called Bike. It's B-I-E-K. A nice lady snuck it to me when I was kidnapped, and I hid and read it till it fell apart. Only can find an Italian version, not an English or Greek version. It's about a David Crockett style hero. Hail. Okay, so I went to Italy, George, and I bought a bunch of Italian comics that I couldn't read. Hang on. No. Are you sure that's spelled right? Hang on. One more thing. One more variable here. No, I don't. I'll look through, but I will search. I will look for you because I bet you want a copy of that and you're looking for it in English. I will ask around. I will hit my network and ask around because I bet you'd want a copy of that, and I understand why. My instance was not as bad as yours. I read the complete Frank Miller, leather-bound, over and over again. That was my save. George, thank you for the $200. George Moilo is an author. And we're going to put your book in my store, by the way. Melissa got your book today. She got your book today, George. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to wrap things up. Thank you, George. I'm just going to make sure I didn't miss much. Oh, okay. Timothy Sullivan for $10. Gary, can you tell me who the green lady is in the blue and yellow uniform which adorns the bottom of your stream screen and where she comes from? Sure. That is Cosmic Crater Girl. So she was the mascot of my comic store. And she was a character kind of derived from something my wife had created. So Melissa created. It's on the back of one of her punk rock jackets from the 80s. It says Cosmic Crater Girl. So that's what I just called her. She's basically kind of a derivative of Tank Girl. She flies a Spitfire, a space Spitfire. And she has a gun called the One Shot Wonder that fires anything once. But was the comic store mascot. And that art is by Derek Robertson. And I colored it. It's just recycle. I need some new channel art. As a matter of fact, I have somebody making some new framing and stuff now, and we'll find a way to incorporate her. But she's been around since the Comic Outpost days. Cosmic Crater Girl. But thanks for asking, Timothy. That's who that is. She's got a backstory and everything. All right, now we'll wrap stuff up. Now we're going to go. So thanks for hanging out on this impromptu stream. I appreciate you all. If you missed any portion of it, hang on to the link, or it will be re-uploaded on Nerdrotic Live in its entirety. I would like to thank the Modrotics. I'd like to thank anybody who participated, took time out of your life to enjoy the stream, even the people who didn't like it. I would like to thank everyone who donated and sent a super chat. You helped keep the lights on, and if it wasn't for you guys, we'd quite frankly be fucked. We were one of those fine people who were shut down by the state of California, and my wife lost her very successful business of 15 years, and we're moving the fuck out of here. So, and it's a very long process. And we are getting into crunch time. So the plan is once I get my schedule out, I will let you all know. But if you want to know when I'm live streaming next, go to nerdrotic.com. If you look to the right of nerdrotic.com, you will see a live stream schedule. We've got one scheduled for Wednesday, and we've got one scheduled for Friday. I'll be on Az's channel tomorrow for the Real BBC at 10 a.m., and there could possibly be a live stream Thursday if we have if I have a conversation. So what, and from here on out, and I'm also going to make those things called videos. Please check out my last one, which honestly, I didn't think it would do that well. So thank you. The Star Trek Picard trailer reaction, whatever the fuck that was. We didn't even talk about Star Trek, man. Everybody forgot. Like that trailer came out and it was fucking gone. Like a fart in the wind. The day later, nobody gave a shit about it. It trended for like an hour on Twitter with 2,000 interactions, and that was it. And Picard just looked old. He's like, what the hell is going on here? And then we saw Q, which is great, but it's in an Alex Kurtzman joint, so fuck that shit. So, yeah, so Nooner will return here on this channel noon on Wednesday, so it'll actually be at noon. You can tune in to me and Az tomorrow at 10 a.m. We're going to be talking about comic books, and we'll actually talk about the Longbow Hunters. We'll remember to talk about the Longbow Hunters because we're supposed to cover that. And that's all for now. So thank you all. I appreciate you. Enjoy some credits.
Nerdrotic.com.
Thank you, Perry Chan. And thank you, X-Roy Girl. This should be the updated version, by the way. With all the mods.
って言っておりますが、どんどん下ネタに行ってしまっております。大阪では平手やばい。駅面式、状態。そこから、バックシェイクボムからフォールいく。スリーカウント。